But I've been stealing time, thinking if I try, everything would turn out right. We're caught up in the climb, love was far behind. Someone's gotta stop this madness. When all this seems like it's okay, and all we feel is dead stick, we're on replay. And all these dreams where life's made are leaving out the people that we love. So slow down, we need to slow
Konbanwa.
Konbanwa.
That was our Terrace House spoof, just something light-hearted to kick off the show tonight. I would just want to apologize for sleeping last night for 10 minutes straight. But coincidentally, that was our highest viewed episode for the CB Late show. I don't know what to say, but thanks for watching. Anyway, thanks for joining us tonight on the Mothership live polling day show. We'll be sharing all the latest updates with all you as the results come in. Warning first, it'll be quite a long show. So please prepare to go to the toilet, drink, stay hydrated, okay? So with me tonight, I'm not alone. My colleagues are here. We have Drew.
Yep, that's me. I'm a writer here at Mothership.
We have Rachel. I don't know what's so
Hi,
funny even.
I'm Rachel. I make videos here at Mothership.
And Zhang Xing.
Hello, I'm Zhang Xing. I'm a writer.
Please guys, don't be so awkward. You're not like this in real life.
We're not awkward.
Yeah, okay. We also have Tanya here, who can you introduce yourself first?
Hi, I'm Tanya. I'm another Mothership slave.
Yes, as you can see, we are run by Okay, let's not go there. We'll be giving you the latest update. No, not we, but Tanya will be giving you the latest breakdown of the results while having a breakdown. Okay? In this show, it's just not about the results, right? We also keep you company and then entertain. So throughout the night, we have snacks, we have our drinks on. So please come join us. So if you want to get the latest results and not get bored, right, this is the place to be. All right? So sit back, relax, share the stream with your uncle, auntie, sister, mother, father. Okay? So Tanya, how are you going to give us the results later?
Hi, I'm Tanya. I'll be announcing the results as they come in later. So maybe just to give a quick overview of the hotly contested GRCs and SMCs that we're looking out for. We're looking at some pretty hot battles at East Coast GRC with PAP against WP, West Coast GRC where we'll see a fight between PAP and PSP, Sengkang GRC, a new GRC where we'll see a battle between PAP and WP, Aljunied GRC, seeing a contest between the incumbent WP and PAP, and also opposition stronghold Hougang SMC, where the WP will be looking to defend the seat. So do hang out with us later on for the results. Yep.
Thank you, Tanya. There was a lot of peace. So okay, we might look damn casual, right? But we do have two experts here who will be analyzing the results for you. Not us though, do we even look like experts? We are just here to eat the popcorns. Where's the popcorn? She always says snacks only. We have our managing editor, Martino Tan, and Dr. Jillian Koh from NUS, who always appear on national TV. Check it out.
Hello, good evening everyone. I'm Martino Tan. Actually, what Xingqi said is not correct. It's only one expert, so that's Dr. Jillian Koh here. She'll be the one providing the analysis. So Dr. Jillian Koh is the Deputy Director of Research at the Institute of Policy Studies. And so Dr. Koh, what do you think we'll be looking out for tonight? What are the seats that will be hotly contested, and what are the type of surprises that you'll see? Yeah.
Well, I think the key thing is to look at whether the Workers' Party is able to hold Aljunied, because they held it with a thin sliver the last time. They had just 2,626 votes over the PAP team.
Yes.
But you see that WP refreshed its team this time around. So, we're going to see whether there's any change there. Of course, whether they'll hold Hougang, which was mentioned, because remember, Lau Tia Kiang has been had this as his stronghold for that many years. Lau Tia Kiang retired from politics. Clearly, he sort of decided not to stand. And so, has that got any effect on Hougang and Aljunied?
Because he will be a new Workers' Party MP, right? If he's elected.
The former NC MP, the non-constituency member of Parliament, Dennis Tan. So that'll be quite interesting whether that political capital can be transferred from generation to generation of WP leaders, right?
If it's successfully transferred, it will be the fourth time they are transferring that, right? Because from Lau Tia Kiang to Yao Xin Leong to Peng Eng Huat and now Dennis.
That's correct, yeah. And it's surprising also that Peng Eng Huat sort of decided to also call an end to his political career, not run in this election. So that was another shift in the WP camp. The third one was that Chen Xiaomao, who was a former MP in Aljunied, also decided that he was not running in this election. So quite interesting, quite a lot to look at in the WP camp. You'll also note that they sort of borrowed star power from Nicole Seah, who was the National Solidarity Party candidate in Marine Parade in 2011. So would that carry on in East Coast, which we know is quite interesting because it's being defended by Mr. Heng Swee Keat, who is Deputy Prime Minister. And clearly, the PAP has sort of designated him as Lee Hsien Loong's successor. So that's all in that geography. Then let's jump over to the other side of the island.
West.
Yes. Okay. The big story of GE2020 is that you have a party started up by someone who used to be in the People's Action Party, right? Dr. Tan Cheng Bock. So that is the first time ever for Singapore. And he's, of course, contesting in West Coast GRC, which is being defended by, of course, the People's Action Party team, comprising not just, Minister S. Iswaran of, who's been there, long-standing minister there. But
23 years. Yeah.
yes, imagine that. But they've now got Mr. Desmond Lee, who's joined them from Jurong GRC, part of Taman Shanmugaratnam stable. So is that a very, very sound team, but facing a very interesting new contender? Mr. Tan Jing Bok, obviously his stomping ground for 26 years was Ayer Rajah, which is part of that GRC. Okay, one more seat that's interesting, or rather two.
Two SMCs, right?
Two SMCs. Okay, Singapore Democratic Party has fielded its top two leaders, right? The chairman of the party, Paul Tambaya, in Bukit Panjang SMC. And, of course, the Secretary General himself, Dr. Chee Soon Juan, is there to try and wrest Bukit Batok SMC from Mr. Murali Pillay of PAP. Mr. Murali had taken that seat in a by-election in 2016. And remember, it was quite unusual at that time because the PAP fielded an Indian candidate. Of course, he can ride on the party brand, but he's nonetheless a minority candidate fielded against Dr. Chee Soon Juan, and he prevailed in that event. So he will be, Mr. Murali Pillay will be fighting to hold the seat. So those are the ones that are interesting for me. But I think that your viewers will probably say they'd want to know what's going to happen in Sengkang GRC, which is a new GRC, a composite of different SMCs, and some place in that territory is where WP also tried to contest previously, Sengkang. So I think there are some WP stars there. I mean, we talked about WP renewing the ranks, but during this hustings, I think you saw the presence of Dr. Jamus Lim. Most people really stood up when they heard him. And I think there's the candidate, Raisa Khan, as well, who's been, of course, there hitting all the marks in social media for various reasons, her background, but also certain unhappy reasons as well, as we know. Martino,
Yes.
back to you, man.
Thank you, Dr. Koh. Sounds like we have a really exciting night
Yeah.
for the next few hours.
Yeah.
So back to the studio.
Okay, so while we are all sitting here on the sofa, we have some really hardworking colleagues that is out there hitting the streets tonight. So let's take you live to the scene right now.
Hi, I'm Rex from Mothership, and we are live at Ayer Rajah Food Centre in West Coast CRC. In West Coast CRC, we have PSP's Dr. Tan Jing Bok, and he is up against PAP's heavyweights, Mr. S. Iswaran and Mr. Desmond Lee. In Dr. Tan's last election in 2001, he actually won a whopping 88% of votes, making him one of the best performing candidates under the PAP. Let's see how well he does this year. We'll be back to you with more sentiments on the ground, so stay tuned. PC. Okay. Hi, I'm Fast from Mothership, and we're currently at Bedok Town Square to get to know what people think of the general election. So this area is actually part of East Coast GRC, which is being contested by the PAP team, consisting of Deputy Prime Minister Heng Swee Keat, Jessica Tan, Cheryl Chan, Maliki Osman, and Tan Ket Hao. They'll be going against the Workers' Party, which consists of Nicole Seah, Terence Tan, Dylan Ng, Kenneth Foo, and Abdul Sharif. So as you can see, there's still some people having their supper here, so we'll get back to you with more updates.
Hi, I'm Aline. We are in Sengkang GRC right now, and as you can see behind me in the background, it's a coffee shop. So yeah, there's quite a bit of excitement, and there's quite a sense of anticipation going on. I heard some uncles just now having quite an enthusiastic and lively discussion, and I'm sure the sense of anticipation is being felt throughout the country, but it's particularly heightened here because this is Sengkang GRC, and it's a new GRC, and it's a new battleground for Workers' Party and for the PAP. So yeah, the night is still young, it's still early, and we'll give you more updates when we have them. That's all from now from Sengkang GRC.
Before independent.
Hi, I'm Shah from Mothership, and right now we're in Hougang, part of Aljunied GRC. It's just over 10 p.m. The atmosphere is really happening. People are blowing whistles, are shouting. Cars are even honking the road. And right now with me, I have Eddie and Annie. So Eddie, how are you feeling this election?
Very good.
And what are your thoughts this election so far?
Whoever win, not important. Who wins, I like the most is Workers' Party.
And Annie, how long have you been staying?
15 years old. 15 years.
And in every election, is the atmosphere always like this?
Yeah.
So for those of you who are not, one of the hottest battlegrounds since the 2011 elections. And this GE2020, the Workers' Party will be going against PAP. And the Workers' Party team consists of Secretary General Pritam Singh, Chairman Sylvia Lim, Vice Chairman Faisal Manap, as well as former NCMPs Leon Pereira and Gerald Giam. Victor Lai, Alex Yeo, Shamsul Kumar, as well as Chua Eng Leong and Chan Hui. That's all the updates we have so far. It's still very happening, even though earlier today the elections department said that the voting hours has been extended till 10 p.m. People have gathered here since around 7 p.m. and the crowd has just been getting more and more crowded. That's all the live updates we have for you today in Aljunied GRC. Thank you.
Hi, I apologize for the lag on behalf of the team. So that's the team, as you can see. So it's gonna be a fairly long night. So I hope you all can come in. Please join us to get your friend, family, your lover, your secret lover or whoever, right? So we'll try our best to keep you entertained, but do keep us entertained also lah. If you have any comments, let us know so we can read out. Got any dedication to someone, your secret lover also, we can do that also. But let me give you a rundown of the show tonight, and here's what we have for you.
Okay, so firstly, of course, we'll give you the live results and analysis. On top of that, as you can see just now, we have like our colleagues out there to give you a sense of the atmosphere as the results comes in.
Yeah, we also have Word on the Street, where we'll be discussing the trending issues and topics from this election. It's not just about what we think, but we'll also be hitting the streets as per usual to find out what people think about those issues as well. And we want to hear from you guys. As Singchi said, hit us up on Facebook Live and YouTube Live chats.
Yeah, and we also have a segment called What's Good in the Hood. So if you follow us on our Instagram, I mean, if you haven't followed us, what are you doing? But if you haven't followed us on Instagram, we have a segment called What's Good in the Hood, where we go to like different neighborhoods and go and find out what's good in their hood lah. But then now, cause got COVID, so we can't go there, right? So what we have here is a bowl where we will take out a random GRC or SMC and talk about it, like what's the good food there and what's any places of interest, any fun facts. I think it's very chill one lah. It's not really about politics. So, you know. And we also have another segment called the top 10 headlines and videos. So we will share with you all the most viewed content on our platforms. And I think it's quite surprising because not all of them are GE related. So yeah.
So let me just start the ball rolling. I guess this is quite an interesting election, I would say. Not sure what you all think. I think it's quite an online election, almost like an e-election, right? So, Zhang Xing, what stood out for you this time around?
I think I was surprised that actually this election turned out to be quite interesting. I thought like everything would be online, then you don't have the rallies, so it'll be boring. But it's quite interesting, and I think for the team we also learn new challenges. So you guys are feeling the lag right now. Sorry for that, but I think throughout this election coverage, we are trying to give you guys like the smoothest coverage online as well.
Yeah. I mean, we're not very smooth, as you can see. We need some lubricant somewhere. But
sorry.
Exfoliate.
Yeah. We also have a first-time voter here.
Oh yeah,
Rachel.
I'm a first-time voter.
Tell us your experience.
I think it's been quite interesting, first election being online and everything, because the previous election I couldn't vote yet, but I went to the physical rallies and stuff, and I think nothing beats the atmosphere, right? Nothing beats the atmosphere of feeling the sweat and people shouting in your ear and like pushing through the crowds and everything. But I think now got COVID very hard lah.
Yeah, but I guess we didn't have the atmosphere, right? But we had like all this drama, like election drama, right?
Yeah.
Ivan Lim, Raisa Khan. I thought it was more than enough to make up for the lack of atmosphere.
And we spoke to Thumbs Up Man.
Yeah, we spoke to Thumbs Up Man as well. That was great.
Thumbs up, man.
So if the results are good,
Thumbs Up Man!
yes, we'll do this to annoy you
Quite
now and
often.
then. Yeah. So I mean, there are no live rallies lah. So I kind of miss it myself. I think, as you can see, I'm a seasoned voter. Yeah. So I miss standing there for hours, sweating and just very sticky lah. You know, and soaking in the atmosphere. Tanya, do you miss it or? it's
Yeah,
nothing
I mean,
much?
I don't miss the sweating, but I think
I guess nobody misses the sweating.
no, but I think like if we are talking about physical rallies, right? There's that interactive element
Right.
where the person giving the speech or whatever says something, and then the crowd is like, oh yeah, or boo or whatever, right? So I
Yeah.
think we kind of don't really have that now, and I mean, what can you do, right? Like write an angry comment on Facebook. Yeah, so I guess that's slightly less fun for me.
Right. I think I read a comment saying that they prefer you to be the returning officer for Mothership.
Subsection.
Subsection.
Person to
Maybe you can do your best RO impersonation later.
I try my best. Oh.
Okay.
Tanya me.
No.
Tanya. Dooms, dooms. Yeah. So are we still gonna play for time? I will just keep talking then. Yeah. For me, I don't know about the queuing thing. Do you all get stuck in the queue this morning?
No, my one was very, very fast. Like in and out in 5 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
Who were queuing more than half an hour?
I think me.
Really?
I think so. I mean, I'm not really keeping track, but yeah.
I think overall it's okay for me as well. But I look at the app first, the website first.
Yeah, okay, talking about the app, right? Is it really accurate? Because I hear some
It's okay.
comments.
I mean, I saw the comments.
Yeah.
Then I was thinking maybe there's a lag time because you see already. Then maybe chong down.
Right,
So
right.
I quickly chong down basically. Once I see that it's green, yeah. So it's not too bad.
But you chunk down, then you queue for how long? 50 minutes.
Less than that actually. But on the way to the office, I saw the long queue at Palmview as well. So hopefully everyone get to vote.
Right.
Yeah.
So you all fumbled with the self-inking pen.
Oh yeah. I thought my dad thought got the pen spoil, you know. So my dad thought the pen got no head. So he came out and was like, "Hey, the pen got no head." Then I was like, "It's a job."
Yeah. I think people were like, how come I cannot draw anything?
I think for the first time voters, they also look at the thing quite differently. There's this comment that says it's a plus instead of seeing it as a So they say like, if you chop it like a plus, is it still valid? I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah, that's a good question. But I think anything within that box is valid, considered valid, I think. Yeah.
Is it normal that the booth is this flimsy? Like.
Oh yeah, it does feel quite flimsy.
Yeah, like when I chop, maybe I chop too hard or what, then like I felt the thing vibrate a bit. Then I like,
You do this shit. What are you doing?
no, it was like a bit unstable.
Yeah, it's a bit unstable. I
so
think.
this is a normal thing.
I would think so. I think it's almost the same setup as the one I voted in the last election. I think it's the same style. I mean, save that there's no COVID-19 and there's no like a self-inking pen. You're just gonna write and stuff. But yeah, this election has been, I want to say weird, but also no, because there are a lot of like Zoom press conference, right, Drew?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, those have been a lot of Zoom rallies, Zoom press conferences, and those have been like really hard to deal with, all the technical difficulties that we ourselves are dealing with right now as well. So yeah, it's just been interesting to report on all those.
Yeah. So to me, I feel like I also got used to it somehow. I mean, it's just, everything is online. I mean, we've been working from home and all these things for quite a while, so it feels quite natural. It's like a muscle memory thing. Oh, on my laptop, on my webcam, and then we can start the press conference.
So just now, I think Drew or someone mentioned about word on the street, right? What is it about? Like, are we getting there soon?
I will get there soon, but like as you said, right, this is going to be quite different GE, right? So we are going to be quite excited for the results. I think you must be excited also since you are here. I think looking at the numbers now, I think more can be here. Like, come join us lah. You know, we are so friendly and so casual, so relaxed, like friends like that. So we want to find out, are other Singaporeans as excited as we are? So what do we do best? We hit the streets, man. Check it out.
Will you be staying up all night tomorrow to do the results?
Oh yeah, for sure. Which I've always been doing. So.
Results, no, I just read in the papers the next day. It's nothing very interesting for me to stay up and just find out stuff like this. I'm going to get the same knowledge the very next morning when I get up anyway.
Yes, definitely. I'll be staying up tomorrow. Yeah, I'll be staying up every night. So yeah, definitely I'll watch the results in every constituency.
I know my boyfriend will, so I'll see how it goes.
明天我有做工嘞，不懂嘞，应该会吧。
Yes, we will be following it out in the night because it will be a good thing to see what is the outcome of different contingencies.
Looking forward to it actually. 看一下明天8点都没有做工嘛。
因为那个结果好像3、4点才会出的。
有时候看电视看过头不会睡就看一下了，不然就明天。
Yes, of course. I'm excited.
Probably with my family. I think this was something we did in 2015 as well. So likely, I think we'll continue to do that this year too.
You're looking at me now? Yeah, I think he's looking at me.
Wow, that was quite interesting.
Yeah.
I think quite a lot of them are staying up to watch the rallies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of those kids, I don't think they knew what they were talking about.
Drink a lot of coffee also, just to stay up, right?
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
I think we have a next segment, right?
Yes, there's a next segment. Come focus on me, please. Yes. This next segment is called Word on the Street. We will chat about some of the key talking points this GE lah. So, with us here is we have special guest, Dr. Natalie Pang, Senior Lecturer at NUS Communications and New Media. So Dr. Pang is an expert in social media and will give us an expert take on the different political parties' social media strategies. Okay, this election, there are 4 hotly contested areas that everyone's been talking about, right? So I guess it's like East Coast, West Coast, Aljunied and Sengkang. The parties contesting here are PAP, WP and PSP. So Natalie, can I call you Natalie?
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Shall I call you Prof? Yeah. Right. So can you share your observations of the different campaign strategies this GE?
Yeah, sure. I think if we look at the, I guess the use of social media by the, the different parties, right? PAP, WP, PSP, and SDP. I think they are all a bit different. So in terms of PAP, I think we can see that there's a lot of content actually, right. And a good use of different variety, different platforms. But yeah, for WP, I think Workers' Party, I guess their social media strategy and their use of different platforms, I guess it's actually, for me, looking at the way they are created, it's also quite effective because it reflects, I guess, a good understanding of how actually people who use social media consume information, very bite-sized information, shareable content, content produced that can be shareable across platforms. Even though they may not have used as many platforms, I felt that there was a lot of thought put into the different kinds of content that's produced, and the messaging as well is quite clear. Right. So I think, for PSP, I think what's most interesting to me actually has been Tan Cheng Bok's use of Instagram. Right. And I really think that, it's, sometimes when people talk about social media, they think of it as one, unified space. Actually, it's not. Instagram is very different from Facebook, very different from a platform like Twitter, and also, of course, very different from, say, I guess, instant messaging platforms like WhatsApp. Right. So, I think for PSP, I feel that Tan Cheng Bok's particularly his use of Instagram and Insta stories, the way he used it to connect to especially young voters, right, has been quite interesting. Yeah, and SDP, I guess I have sort of studied social media and elections since 2011. One consistency I've always seen, you know, with the different parties is that SDP has always been kind of quite proactive in using social media and the internet. Yeah.
So, I mean, you mentioned about the different social media, right, platforms. So I'm just wondering, in terms of the Singapore space, which one is the most commonly used one and the top platform in your opinion?
I guess if you're talking about like top in terms of numbers, I would say, I mean, I think WhatsApp and also Facebook is something that's very popular, especially amongst the older I guess users.
Yeah, especially WhatsApp, right?
Yes, yes, right. Especially WhatsApp. It's also because I think you know, WhatsApp feels familiar. It's on the mobile, and older users, they are quite comfortable with using mobile phones. It feels like SMS.
You just forward only, right?
Yes. But yeah, I mean, I would say Instagram is where you would find many more younger voters, and also influencers that actually their use of Instagram is also quite intense.
Right. Okay, I mean, we are kind of like a social media platform also ourselves. We rely on those platforms a lot.
Yes.
So I don't know, what do you all think? Which one is more a cup of tea? Which social media is platform is a cup of tea for you guys? For me, it's Facebook. I mean, I'm kind of old, so I use Facebook more.
Yeah, I think Instagram.
Yeah,
Instagram it's the easiest, the fastest. It's like the best looking, the most aesthetic, I guess.
Right. Yeah. No, I like watching Instagram stories. Like, you can just watch forever and just tap.
Yeah. I love the way actually that some of the candidates have used Instagram stories to communicate with their constituents and to give us like a personal look into their lives. It's been fun.
Yeah.
So who used IG the best this time around?
I would say actually Tan Cheng Bok, and I think actually Nicosia actually on Instagram. She also used Instagram quite a lot.
Right.
She would share like Insta stories from her other party members onto her Instagram. Yeah, and I think it also matters who's sharing, right? I think Nicosia, you know, I think for many people who have watched or gone through the 2011 election, they will remember her, and so she kind of has, you know, star power.
Right. Okay.
I think besides these two, I think like Ong Yi Kang has been cultivating his account quite a fair bit with a lot of mix of personal and also work stuff. So I thought that was quite a good move as well, building up to GE2020.
Yeah, and I mean, talking about that, so I think with social media, candid use of social media is also actually important to connect to voters. So actually, I have also noticed a number of candidates doing that, like Tan Chuan Jin, also Carrie Tan, who use like Facebook Live, right, to have one-on-one chats.
So when you say candid, that means it's a bit raw, authentic kind of thing?
Yeah, so it's like quite interactive.
Right.
It could be spontaneous as well, like them going about their walkabouts, and I noticed Chi Sun Juan also share a lot of live videos when he's doing his walkabouts. But I noticed quite a number of candidates were doing that as well, right? Taking questions from people who were watching them. I noticed, Carrie Tan, Tan Chuan Jin, they were all kind of doing that.
Is there like an appetite for live stuff? Based on our experience also, we do our live walkabouts live, right? So the views are quite good. I think people are interested to find out. I think maybe it's because of COVID-19, they cannot go out, so what they want to experience it firsthand also. Is there a demand for that, you think?
I think so. I mean, you're quite right, because I think, we are in this COVID-19 situation, right, where we don't have the luxury of going to a live rally. I heard some of you talk about, you know, the missing the sweats, you know, live rallies. But I think what live rallies also give people is that sense of togetherness, that sense of like, we're fellow Singaporeans, we're out here, regardless of the party you support, we are here to, vote, right? So I think especially, back to your question, especially during this COVID-19 situation, live videos actually do give people the chance to connect with what's on the ground. They can't be there, they can't show up on the ground in large groups. So I think, having those opportunities to actually get a sense of what's happening on the ground, that sense of like I'm there with my candidate I like, right, is important.
Right. Okay, so I think I want to turn the attention towards the constituency lah. So I think the first thing I want to talk about is East Coast GRC. I mean, from the PAP slate, we have DPN Heng, Swikit, Maliki Osman, Cheryl Chan, Jessica Tan, Tan Kiat Hao. WP, we have Terence Tan, Nicole Sia, Kenneth Fu, Dylan Ng, and Abdul Sharif. So WP has been contesting over there since 2006 lah. In 2011, they gained 45% of the votes, and Gerald Giam became the NCMP. In 2015, they gained 39%, which is the closest any opposition party came to claiming a GRC outside of Aljunied. I think one surprise move for this year's one is, I think, DPM Heng's inclusion, in the last minute. Right? So it's quite surprising because his name was not printed on the form, right? And I think the key thing people took away from that day, right, probably it's not the form, but I think it's his nomination day speech, which blew up online, right? So how do you think the PAP dealt with the virality of his speech?
Yeah, speaking of memes, that definitely was like what all the memes were about, right? The East Coast plan. But I mean, I think for the PAP, they did have a show with detailing that plan. So I think what's interesting is that I think they, actually talked about, I think it was Maliki who started the show, actually poking fun at Heng Swee Keat, right? So I think they dealt with it that way. It's just that I wish that response came sooner.
I see.
Especially in social media space where, actually it's always about timeliness of the responses. It can explode very fast.
So in your opinion, you would have embraced all the memes? Yourself?
Kind of, yes.
Right. As almost as the next day, maybe?
Yeah, maybe next day, yes.
Right. Okay. I think that's one of the key talking points, this GE, the East Coast plan. But okay, let's move on to the next area. Let's go all the way to the west.
Journey to the west.
The Wild West.
West side, best side. You want to fight me? You can fight.
Bring your passport,
I'm
guys.
a West Sider.
Boo! Okay.
No, okay.
So you West Side, you intro.
Okay. So for West Coast GRC, we have two parties that will be contesting this year. So there will be the PAP. So under the PAP side, there will be S. Iswaran, Desmond Lee, Foo Mee Ha, Ang Wei Neng, and newcomer Rachel Ong. And under the PSP, there will be Tan Cheng Bock, Leong Mun Wai, Jeffrey Khoo, Hazel Phua, and Nadaraja Loganathan. So some fun facts about this GRC, right? It was formed in 1997. It was traditionally a PAP stronghold. And in the last election, the PAP won 78.57% of the votes against the Reform Party. So this year, the Tan Cheng Bock-led team is contesting for the PSP, right? And something interesting to note is that in the very long time ago, many years ago, right, Tan Cheng Bock served as the MP for Ayer Rajah, SMC, from 1980 to 2006. That's like 26 years, my math correct? Yeah, 26 years.
Right.
Yeah, so that was before the ward got absorbed into West Coast GRC. So you can kind of say that he's kind of going back to his roots, because he was also a doctor in that area. He's going back to where he came from and stuff like that. And in GE2020 this year, Desmond Lee, the Minister for Social and Family Development, moved to join the West Coast GRC team, and he was formerly from the Jurong GRC team. So this means, right, that the PAP West Coast team will be one of the 2 GRCs to have 2 ministers on their team. The other GRC being the Tanjong Pagar GRC, which also has 2 ministers. So I think just now, Natalie, you mentioned that Tan Cheng Bok's social media game is super strong this year. I mean, I was also quite surprised with the woke and the hype beast, because I didn't expect the 80-year-old man to,
and the hype beast,
to say like, I am hype beast, I am woke. And then there was this video of him, I think if you saw the terrace house opening just now, him eating the hibiscus. Oh, I laughed so hard. And I think a lot of my friends who are around the same age as me were sharing the videos, the Instagram posts of him as well. So I think there's a video there of his hype beast and the doorstop you can show. Now! Oh, time!
Doc, what is one thing that people don't know about you?
They don't know that I'm wearing a pair of glasses without lens. Look. The Chinese is a high beast. High beast. 聽有冇？聽有冇？聽有冇？係什麼嘅？係 beast。係。Do you know hibiscus flowers can be eaten?
Really? Can you eat them?
Sure. Right.
That's
you can
funny.
eat the flowers.
Are you hype beast?
Yes. I'm a hype beast.
Will you call yourself a hype beast, Akong?
Yes, I will call myself hype beast Akong.
Wow, that's amazing.
I must be the oldest hype beast Akong. Right?
Okay.
I don't know whether my colleagues want to say it, but let me just say this. We don't think we should be commenting on the strategy or the approach being adopted by our opponents. Ultimately, I think our people have to decide what is appropriate. But I can tell you what we are focused on. What we are focused on is to convey to our people in as direct and as sincere a manner what we stand for, what we have done, and what we intend to do if we are re-elected. And of course, we do use social media, but maybe many of us are not as savvy as Dr. Tan. But I think ultimately what counts is the sincerity of the message and the ability to follow through and deliver. I may be old-fashioned, but I think that's the most important thing.
Okay, yeah, so that was the video in case you've been living under a rock and you haven't been seeing Dr. Tan Cheng Bok's social media posts. So I think, Natalie, I just want to ask you, what do you think of Dr. Tan's media strategy on Instagram, and what do you think of the West Coast PAP's team strategy in comparison?
Maybe first of all, do you consider yourself a hype beast?
Wow. I do wear glasses, just that they're off, but yeah, I can't do that. I'm not sure. I will have to understand more about the meaning of that word. But I think what do I think about Dr. Tan Cheng Bok's Instagram? I think it's easy to watch that and think that, oh, it's just, you know, cute and endearing. But I think on a more serious note, I think when voters actually look at candidates' social media postings, right? I think they are looking for, especially in this day and age, they are looking for very personal qualities that they want in candidates. Like, for instance, someone they can relate to, someone that seems friendly, trustworthy. So yeah, and down to earth, you know, that, you know, eating the hibiscus, that's, yeah, I mean, that's funny, but yeah, it's also, you know, I think communicates a certain image to voters. So I think on a more serious note, that's what this is about. And I think something to understand about Instagram is also, I think, Insta stories, right? When you have all these little snippets, short uploaded over a number of days, and then you bring all this together in the form of an Insta story, it actually, elevates that message even more. So I think that's what I think is happening with his use of Instagram. The other thing I like to say is also, quite often when I do my research, right, people always like to ask me, do things online translate into real impact, right? So,
like numbers,
like
votes,
numbers
right?
and so on. But sometimes I think that's a misnomer. I mean, the online environment, all the, even as we are speaking right now, people are actually also, I think, switching between watching this show and other, checking other things, right? So actually the social media is very much a part of our everyday life. So I think what I would like to say that's actually quite interesting with Tan Cheng Bok's Instagram is also towards the end of the campaign, he turned that actually online social capital into something that's like, he brought it into his house literally, right? He invited his online friends into his house.
Right.
Yeah.
So speaking of like whether it translates into real life things, right? I mean, do you think it's like social media is like an echo chamber?
Yeah.
Very loud, very but it doesn't translate to real life things sometimes.
Well, I think if we are talking about voting, right, whether it translates into votes, I think there's a number of factors that informs the way people vote, right? So I think talking about social media, I think it is not just about connecting to people, to the candidates.
Right.
It's also a big factor is also whether or not that messaging that's put out, right, resonates with people. So I think that's another important factor that voters would have going into going to the polls.
Okay, thank you. So I think we can move on to the next area, which is our Junit GRC. So Drew, you can take us through that.
Okay, so for our Junit GRC this year, we had the Workers' Party taking on the PAP, and the Workers' Party team, it included Party Chief Pritam Singh, Sylvia Lim, Faisal Manap, Gerald Giam, and Leon Pereira. The PAP fielded a team of Victor Lai, Chua Eng Leong, Shamsul Kama, Cha Hui Yi, and Alex Yeo. And this is quite an interesting year for Junit GRC. I mean, they saw two Workers' Party veterans, Lo Tiao Kiang and Chen Xiao Mao, retire from Parliament, and they were replaced by two former NCMPs, Leon Pereira and Gerald Giam. And this comes after they narrowly won Junit in 2015. I mean, they won it by less than a percent.
0.95.
Yeah,
right?
50.095%. So, Natalie, I was just wondering, what did you think the Workers' Party did different this year, maybe to make their victory, their supposed victory, a bit more comfortable? And what do you think the PAP did different to make that margin a bit slimmer?
In terms of social media, so I think for the Workers' Party, I mean, I'm sure all of you watched that cliffhanger teaser, right? So I think when the campaigning started, I mean, even before the nomination day, they left everyone with a cliffhanger teaser. And it started with, Pritam Singh being the leader of the Workers' Party, as well as, the leader of the group that's contesting Junit. So I think their social media game is, something that I think involves actually demonstrating strong leadership, that succession from veteran Lo Tia Kiang to Pritam Singh. So, and it's, I think also, I mean, again, talking about social media videos that's produced, right? I think it's also very clear to me that they put Pritam in the limelight. So to signal to actually voters in that constituency that he's he's the new leader.
Yeah, I think one of my colleagues said that he sounds like Batman.
Like Batman, yeah.
Like Batman. So it gives the I'm the leader, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So in terms of WP, I think I'd like to hear more about your thinking about their, how they make use of all their different social media platforms.
So I think for me, something that I think Workers' Party did quite well in terms of framing and designing the content is just how they actually designed them to be shareable across platforms. So I think earlier I said, don't think of social media as one big space. Think of it as actually one. Okay, it is a big space, potential echo chambers, as you said, but there are also many platforms in that space.
Right.
So what is also, I think, for me, looking at the internet since 2011, what is very clear to me is just how that space has been changing in terms of we now have many more platforms, but also many linkages across platforms.
Right.
So when you design like, say, piece of content, right, an infographic, you have to design it with being very mindful that it's going to be shared on, you have to design it to be shareable on WhatsApp, to be shareable on Facebook, and so on. So I think for WP, I guess social media game, right, is actually also capitalizing on that knowledge. And I think it's also, I guess, reflective of the understanding of how people consume actually content on social media.
Right. So you're saying that the content itself must be shareable across plenty of platforms.
Yes.
So it's like a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. It's not a bespoke strategy for each different.
It's like I mean, it's both the visual, the design, as well as the narrative, right? The content must also be, I guess, easy to remember, clear, and don't write an essay on an infographic.
I think on Twitter, the Workers' Party had quite a strong presence with the millennials. I think there was a Lady Gaga reference with the Chromatica thing, right?
Yes.
And then I think yesterday or earlier today, I saw someone complimenting them on the way they designed Twitter graphics, in a sense, because Twitter graphics were cropped. Right, when you look at it, the preview will crop unless you click in. So what they did was they designed two of the same graphics but put the text on the correct side. So people when they scroll, they can just see. So it's that user friendliness that people notice as well.
Yes.
And saying things like, living for this, or that kind of the language used for different platforms as well.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
So maybe now we can move on to the next area, Sengkang GRC.
Yay! Hotly
someone's
contested.
home ground. You're from Sengkang GRC, right?
I'm from Sengkang. Yes, I'm a Sengkang Kia, but okay, that sounds not very nice. I don't know why. But anyway, so in Sengkang, where I come from, there's PAP and also WP. So this time around, PAP is led by Ng Chi Meng, Lam Ping Ming, Amrin, and also Raymond Lai. Then for WP side, there's James Lim, Raisa Khan, He Ting Ru, and also Louis Chua. So this is a new GRC, right? That's made out of like Sengkang West and Punggol East Ward. So for those living in Sengkang, you know that it's like Riverview, Compassville, and Anchorville unite together to form the new GRC. Okay. So for Punggol East, it was held by WP's Lily Lian previously, and then but this time around we also have the Labour Chief Ng Chi Meng. That is previously part of the Pasir Ris Punggol GRC in 2015. So now he's like the leader of this new team. Then there's also Amrin from Sembawang GRC. But from WP side, I think the more prominent one will be James Lim, who represented WP in the political debate. And from the political debate, I think everyone kind of remember him for quite a few memorable moments, like warm the cockles of your heart,
I think we got video,
my
right?
heart.
Video.
Yeah. So here are some highlights if you didn't catch that previously.
Dr. Lin, I read your manifesto, and actually, to be honest with you, we could have written the same manifesto.
We like that. So thanks for the question, Dr. Balakrishnan. I think the kind of meta point that is being asked is that whether we are in fact just equivalent to the PAP. And I think we have often emphasized in the Workers' Party that we do not necessarily object to policy just because of the sake of objection. Ultimately, what we want is the right policy. I think the fact that we're having a debate and agitating toward an answer is a step positive in that direction. Now, you have then went on to say that what we have done is move to the left, and the kind of underlying query is that, well, perhaps by moving to the left, we are being irresponsible fiscally.
Not at all.
Well, I would like to emphasize, within the manifesto, we have actually done the math behind it, and everything within our budget it actually is budget neutral. Now, what is true though is that it does entail a set of trade-offs, and I cannot emphasize this enough. I think where we fundamentally differ is where we think those trade-offs actually should occur. Now, the PAP would tend to side on the side of capital. We think, in fact, that for every dollar of national income, Singaporean workers already receive an insufficient amount. 42 cents, compare that to 55 cents in Japan, and much higher in other high-income countries. And we think that a rebalance of that kind of share of labor income is ultimately necessary.
Very good.
So I will likewise ask Dr. Balakrishnan a meta question.
Sure.
And the meta question is this: you have listed all the policies, and I agree with the spirit of the policies, which is the PAP has put in one of the largest stimulus policies post-COVID-19. Yes. But how much has the PAP actually evaluated the efficacy of its policies? And I ask this in the context of things that were already raised. Dr. Chi mentioned that productivity, in spite of the fact that since 1972, the PAP has tried to raise productivity unsuccessfully. You talk about the progressive wage model, but yet, as Mr. Yuan pointed out, we are still in a position where we still see the elderly.
Get to your question very soon.
And that is the question. It is how much the PAP has actually estimated the efficacy of the policies it rolls out, because I would have lack of confidence that their big budgets might actually do the job. Well, thank you. Well, so I'm going to start by thanking Mr. Yun. I agree absolutely that a very big part of social mobility is ensuring that we take care of those that have already contributed to our economy and our society in the years where they were putting in the effort. So we absolutely need to take care of our elderly that lives among us. I had shared previously in other fora that it is really a crime that we see the elderly continue to feel that they have to work in order to have make ends meet. So that is one of the elements of social mobility that we feel that, elements like a minimum wage will actually help us move toward increasing social mobility. Now, Dr. Chi mentioned as well about education, and as an educator myself, that warms the cockles of my heart. But unfortunately, we have moved away. When I was in school, we used to have an educational system where really there was equality of opportunities. But if you look at the schools now, you don't see that, and Dr. Chi mentioned one of the elements where we can actually bring about greater equality by ensuring that the schools that are not the elite schools actually get a disproportionately higher amount of educational spending. Now, the other element which we feel strongly about is decreasing class sizes, because I think this ironically ends up penalizing students that are in large classes and are forced to take lessons, additional lessons out of the classroom in the form of private tuition. I enjoyed the debate actually, and I think this is exactly why debates about ideas for how Singapore should progress should occur. And I think it's also clear from this debate that the PAP does not have a monopoly on the best ideas on how we should bring the society forward. Now, the PAP has argued that this election is really about giving them a mandate to bring the country out of this crisis. And they need this mandate in order to do so. Now, the truth is, the PAP, in all likelihood, will have this mandate by the end of this election. And I think that what we are trying to deny the PAP isn't a mandate. What we're trying to deny them is a blank check. And that is what I think this election truly is about, so that we can actually have this kind of debates, not just in a constrained form over a table, but actually in the forum which was designed for this, which is Parliament. So if you believe, and I call on voters, if you believe in having all voices heard, if you believe that we succeed only when we have sound and rational debate about what matters, if you believe in the essence of a democratic modern society for the 21st century, then we ask that you make your vote count and that you will vote for the Workers' Party.
Okay, so that pretty sums up why Jamus suddenly gained so much popularity after the debate. But then again, he's still facing off the Labour chief Ng Chee Meng this time around, and as well as some really experienced incumbent MPs. So, Natalie, what do you think about this competition? Yeah, and how does like maybe this debate help WP if it helps? Yeah,
that's a great question. I think both the teams are very different, right? I mean, the Workers' Party team is a very young team. I think most of them have children, if not all.
Yeah.
So I think in that particular demographic, I guess, makes them relevant and makes them relatable to many young families that's in Sengkang. But yeah, I mean, on the PAP side, you have a team that's actually quite experienced and also has strong on the ground presence as well. So what do I think? I think it's just looking at the social, in terms of their use of social media. I think you mentioned earlier, you talked about Jamus Lim as the, I guess, breakaway star from the debate. I think it's also important to, highlight that even before going to the debate, actually, Workers' Party had a hashtag, Make Your Vote Count, and they have strategically kind of put it out there, and that messaging is just reinforced with his debate, his performance at the debate. I mean, he brought it back to the hashtag, Make Your Vote Count. Right?
But there are 4 candidates for the debate. What makes him so likable? Yeah, is there any things that you notice?
I think what made him likable, I think, I mean, both him and I think Vivian, they are both strong debaters. They perform very well at the debate. But I think what made him likable is that he was able to, it showed in your video, he was able to, I guess, embrace the challenges from Vivian, and I think for people watching that and watching him as a young person on that stage, first time running in this election, I think that made people very impressed with him and what his team can potentially bring.
So if this is like a election just purely on social media performance, right? Who would have won by a landslide?
Purely social media.
I'm talking about the different parties here. Yeah.
Damn. Well, I think different parties have kind of a different gameplay, right? But I think in terms of, I would say, like, I'll give special mentions to everyone.
Okay, that's
no PC. Wow, PC. Well, it's I think for PAP they managed to produce a lot of content, and they have a variety of different kinds of content. And some of them are also, in fact, moderated by, in the likes of Desmond Koh. And
so it gives me the very well-produced vibe, and doesn't seem to fit too well in the social media realm. I feel it feels like I could have watched this on TV.
So a lot of their shows actually Yeah, you're right. Actually, could have been played on TV, right? So I think that's why earlier I mentioned they had some candidates that were doing a bit more spontaneous things, like the live videos on the walkabouts and the one-on-one chats, right? But yeah, for Workers' Party, I think their social media game is about actually putting important messaging out there in bite-sized, frames and very well-designed visuals as well. Consistent use of colors and right words are highlighted and so on. So people remember them. So in fact, actually, I was watching the live debate and I noticed, right, the keyword of the night, right, was blank check. Right?
Yeah.
So in fact, on the social media space, you could see that was what people remembered. And in fact, other parties started using it as well. Other opposition parties. In fact, even PAP started using the word blank check as well, refuting the analogy.
Right.
So in terms of virality of things, I would say Workers' Party, has a special mention.
Yeah, their Twitter presence is
Yes.
strong. Their Twitter
Yes,
presence
yeah,
is crazy.
yes.
Yeah, I think they managed to really get a lot of millennial favor on Twitter because I was seeing the retweets. I think I've never seen a party be this millennially relevant. Is there even a term? Yeah, like I was saying, like the Lady Gaga thing, it was just appealing to the millennial vote already.
Yeah.
Well, what about SDP?
Yeah, so I think for SDP, they have always, I think I mentioned earlier, since 2011, they have always been actually very proactive in using different social media platforms. So we see them doing that. In fact, even before nomination, they had Reddit as well. On Twitter, they also use Twitter, Ask Me Anything, right? Twitter. So I think for SDP, there's a lot more, I think, interactivity. So they had those late night chats as well, where they allowed voters to ask them anything as well. So they had a lot of those. Yeah. So interactivity, SDP. But I think for PSP, Tan Cheng Bock in particular.
So he will win the influencer prize.
Yes. The influencer prize, yes.
So
Actually, PSP is also quite active and also one of the earlier to start their Zoom session. I know that is quite different, and their views are actually the real-time views are actually quite high, like 1K every night, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, like, how do you think about the use of Zoom?
Yeah.
Like a private group of, does it make people feel safer to say things or interact?
Yeah, is that right? I think having to go through like a registration, actually it works both ways. I think that for people who attend the Zoom session, they would feel safer, and for the party as well, they might feel safer as well. And I think for the party, for them is quite strategic as well, right? Because they want to be speaking to potential voters living in the constituency. So going through that registration allows them that opportunity to verify that, oh yeah, this is indeed a resident staying in the constituency I am contesting. So I think it is, creating that safe space for them to be talking to residents, in a more direct way. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Do you guys have any more questions that you might have?
Oh, I think someone called Jerome wants a shout out
from
Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew, can you give me a shout out from Jerome Neo?
Who's that?
Jerome Neo.
Never heard of him.
But shout out to you anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this how we? You see how we are engaging our viewers?
Yeah, we also need to
is it
engage
the good
our
strategy?
Good.
Yeah, someone
What do
said.
you make of our Mothership social media game?
Oh wow. Is this a safe space?
Safe space, very safe.
Your game is strong.
You saying that because we're here. Yeah. I think there was another comment by Meng Tek Yo saying lively coverage from Mothership, CNA making me sleepy. I think we both have our own strong points. Yeah, right.
Thanks for
on your
watching
thing.
us,
Thank you
though.
for watching us. We are trying to make this lively. We will not fall asleep. I promise you. Later when we deliver the results, we will not fall asleep. I mean Tanya, when she delivers the results. Yeah.
We are also waiting for the results, and we hope that it comes soon as well.
Yeah, the results are not in yet. Yeah, and then another comment from a Samuel Lam saying, "I vote Rachel. I'm not running.
You can run
I'm
tomorrow
here."
morning. Like, go out and run.
Physically run.
I'm going to run, like.
Rachel, if you were to start a party, what would the party's name be?
Oh yeah, good question.
The
Must be social media friendly one.
Ah.
The SEO must be quite strong.
the kopi sipeng party. Yeah.
That's very
because I love kopi sipeng. Yeah, it's my daily driver. Yep.
Okay, I think there's someone from YouTube asking for a shout out also. Hui Wei Feng. Yeah. So yeah, shout out.
Hui
Yeah,
Wei Feng.
shout out. Yeah.
That's all.
Shout out. I don't know what shout out to Hui Wei Feng. Yes. Okay, before we end this segment, I just need to do the newscaster bit. Yeah, because someone asked me to read this. Okay, polls have closed after a full day of voting. As of 8 p.m. Wow, so many numbers. More than 2.56 million voters, which is 96% of registered voters, have cast their votes at local polling stations in Singapore. This turnout is higher than the turnout during the 2015 GE, which was 2.3 million votes cast, 93.56% of registered votes at the close of poll. Okay, one final question. Natalie, this is like a online thing, right? How come? Well, it's actually translated to more voters on the ground. You know? Do you think that it helped in a way to get people out on the street, you know, to rally them somehow?
I think, that as a researcher, I have to say that requires more research. But I think I have to say that this online election is, I mean, there's like, obviously it's different from our usual election. But one thing that I think that people may have found surprising is that they have been able to hear from so many other parties, right? Because all the content is online. I mean, a list of, I mean, compared to a traditional, you know, usual election where perhaps you could only decide to go to like one rally per night, right? This time round, I think people have been able to just switch from one video to another chat to another, watching another Instagram story, and so on. So I think that opportunity to actually have for them to listen to many other parties is there. So maybe that has heightened interest and awareness. But I think what is also really a first for me, right, watching this election, is also the amount of actually, I mean, in my community we call it digital citizenship, but it's really about people using digital tools to educate each other, to actually have, to engage, you know, their peers, you know, teaching each other, for instance, about what does it mean by your vote is secret, how does the election process work, what is the GRC system, how it has come about. This election I have definitely seen a lot of that. Young voters actually putting out very thoughtful and long postings.
Right. I guess that helps in civic engagement also.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Natalie. Up next, we'll be chatting more about other things. So before that, here are some happenings from polling day. See you in a bit. Yeah.
There, right? Yeah, you got some. Oh, I see. I'm going to use that. Good luck.
Okay, watch out. Come on, don't stand on the road. Come on.
Hello. Hi. Come.
School is there, right? Oh, I see. I'm going to use that. Good luck. Okay, watch out. Come on, don't stand on the road. Come on.
Hello. Hi. Come.
School is there, right? Yeah, oh, I see. I'm going to use the... Good luck. Okay, watch out. Come on, don't stand on the road. Come on.
Hello. Hi. Come.
But I've been stealing time, thinking if I try, everything will turn out right. We're caught up in the climb, love was far behind. Someone's gotta stop this madness. When all this seems like it's okay, and all we feel is dead stick, we're on replay. And all these dreams where life's made are leaving out the people that we love. So slow down, we need to slow
Hello guys, I'm Sing Chi.
I'm Drew.
I'm Tanya.
I'm Rachel.
I'm Zhang Xing.
And you're watching the Mothership live polling day show. So we just now had a commercial break. Sorry we don't have sponsors lah. So we just play some B-rolls to y'all lah. I think there's a comment asking me whether I shave my head daily, I guess it depends on my mood. You know, if I want to shave, then I shave. But I do shave my head. Sorry. Got any more things that we can talk about? I guess, yeah, later we'll answer more, okay? But I think I hear something from a little bird. It says that I need to go to the on-site reporters now. No, still cannot. Oh, still not yet. Not ready yet. I think there's very noisy there or something.
Yeah,
So we'll just chat Okay?
I think just now someone asked about our gang situation, right? For those who follow us on Facebook or like on Telegram, you will see us posting like the situation there. Basically now there are already people gathering at this HQ, which is block 322, and they are all waiting for the results. It looks quite crowded, I would say, but I guess everyone still maintain a bit of distancing. And the result is not out yet, sadly. Yeah, so if you really want to see what's going on, please go to our website or our Twitter, then you'll see a video there. Okay?
Okay, I think we are ready to cut to the
Oh, is it? We are ready?
live
Are
recording.
we are ready, guys. Take it away.
Take it.
Hi guys, it's Faris here from Mothership. We are live here from Nanhua High School, where we just saw several buses coming in and out, delivering the ballot boxes. And yeah, we will be expecting Dr. Tan Cheng Bok to be here soon. So stick around and stay tuned.
Okay. Hi. At St. Andrew's Hall, which is under the Potong Pasir SMC. So Potong Pasir SMC is contested by PAP's Sito Yipin and SPP's Jose Raymond. So we saw Jose Raymond a while ago, and I think he's gonna go into the the counting center. Yeah. So actually St. Andrews is the counting center for this constituency. So I guess we will catch up later because it's pretty quiet now. There's nothing much here.
So we're outside Fengshan Primary School right now, where it's a counting center for East Coast GRC. So right now it's quite a sleepy night, but though there's nothing much going on. But just a few minutes ago, we saw a man from PAP, a PAP member, go into the school. So that's about it. We'll get back to you later tonight.
Hi, I'm Eileen and we are still in Sengkang GRC. Actually, we're at North Vista Secondary School right now, which is one of the counting centers for Sengkang GRC. So right now it seems a little bit dead and quiet, but actually just now there were a whole bunch of people getting off a bus and they were carrying boxes filled with paper. So it might have been the votes that they were bringing to the counter center just now. But for now it still seems pretty quiet. So that's all the updates we have from here in Sengkang GRC.
Thank you for sweating it out, guys. I feel very dry and comfortable here in my seat. So yeah, thank you very much. So next segment, we're going to do What's Good in the Hood. Segment 1. And we're going to draw something from a bowl. Where's the bowl? Alright. Come. Honest.
You take.
Oh, Sengkang GRC.
Oh, Sengkang Kia.
Sengkang Kia, we know best.
Wait, what am I supposed to do?
Tell us something about Sengkang that we don't know.
Yeah,
What's
share
good
with us
in
some fun
Sengkang?
facts,
Okay.
some good things.
Sengkang. I think Sengkang is great because actually Sengkang has a nice Hokkien Mee that I really like.
Wait.
It's actually very convenient at Campus 1, Kopitiam, level 4. There's this very nice Hokkien Mee store there, which I'll recommend. And there's a nice bingsu over there as well.
Is it the dry type or the soup? A bit
I think it's slightly dry, but it depends on the uncle's mood, I think. Sometimes it's like slightly sticky, then sometimes it's like wet. Like,
Okay.
So what kind of mood is the best mood to catch the uncle in?
I think I prefer. Oh, what kind of mood? You don't go too late lah. You go peak hour, then uncle just like no choice, have to speed things up a little bit because everyone is hungry. And it's good if you go early because there's lesser people, safe distancing.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Sengkang.
I think there's a fun fact. I think
What?
Sengkang Fire Station is the biggest fire station in Singapore.
Wow, I didn't know that.
That's it's a fun fact, man.
But I've never visited the fire station.
You should not need the fire station.
Exactly.
Yes. As in,
Yes,
hopefully you don't need the fire station in your life.
Yeah.
Someone said the Sengkang Hockey Stadium is a place of place of
Okay, let me look
interest.
at someone.
Why?
Oh, it's
place
quite
of
famous
interest.
for hockey
Oh, I don't know.
matches.
Maybe you like to see young boys playing hockey, or young girls. No lah, but it's quite cool. I think that's like that's not typical in every heartland, right? So I think for hockey, even as a sport, it's not that common. Like it's not like badminton. You have a court everywhere or almost everywhere. So I think that is something that is quite special in Sengkang as well. Yeah, and there's otters in Sengkang Riverside Park as well.
Otters.
Right.
Oh, there are some comments about our terrace house theme intro from Ray Ng, Alfonso Lim, and Joe Basara asked if we can post the terrace house theme video online. So if you all saw just now after our commercial break, there was a terrace house inspired opening sequence that we did according to the politicians. We're not sure if we can put it out online because there might be some copyright with the song, but you can stay tuned to our live stream and watch it a few more times because we'll be going on all night.
Ask your friends to watch more right? I mean, come on lah. Ask your friends to come lah.
Yeah.
Wake up your neighbors. Hey, don't you want to watch Mothership? You know, so this is the chance.
Yeah.
But wait. We are talking about Sengkang. Why are we talking about this? Sengkang, got anything else or not?
Sengkang.
Don't tell me only got Hokkien Mee. This place so big, only got Hokkien Mee.
No,
I better call Ng Chi Ming now. Hello.
yeah, maybe no, but Sengkang. What do you want to know about Sengkang? Maybe you
I want to know.
you ask me some questions and I'll let you know.
Why
got
is
cafe or
Sengkang
not?
called Sengkang?
What?
Huh? Why is it called
That's really a
Sengkang?
test, man.
Why is Sengkang called Sengkang?
Wow. I think you can answer.
I can't answer.
Limited.
Sorry.
If you know, let us know in the comments.
Yeah,
Yeah,
share
if you
with
know.
us. if
Don't
you
Google,
know.
No,
Not
but I want to know whether there are any cafes there.
For cafes, there used to be a Legend Cafe, but I mean recently because of the COVID-19, Legend is one of them that closed down for now. But I hope that it will come back again lah when things get better. Yeah. It's like by the riverside. It's very nice. There's outdoor area. There's also indoor area whereby there's live band. So if there are more of such like shops around, I think it will feel a lot more homely because Sengkang is relatively new, right? So one of the things that you probably feel lack of, it would be the sense of like community or like it's not like you go Tampines, you'll know that there are some shops that is there like for a very long time, and then this uncle is there, and you know this uncle, this auntie, then everything feels more cozy. But I think given time, right, Sengkang will also have like these uncle aunties that you will see like for years, you know, which is great lah. Sengkang.
You know what? I've actually never. I don't think I've ever been to Sengkang.
What?
No.
I've never taken an LTR either.
LRT.
It's LRT.
Yeah, LRT, whatever. I don't even know what it's called. That's how foreign it is to me.
Oh my.
But even LRT, like for me, it's still quite confusing to take the LRT.
Oh, the names are very confusing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
like
when
when I first like moved into Sengkang, right, the taxi drivers are very like confused with the street names. So there isn't like Street 21, Avenue 5. It's like what Anchorville lah, Campusville lah. So it's very different from how the older estates are named in terms of their streets and housing. Yeah. So that was something that stood out for me also lah as I lived there.
Right. Sengkang. So you previously from some other place?
Yeah, I was previously from Tampines. Yeah. So when I was much younger, I live in Tampines. So that's why like there's a change in environment. Yeah, but I think everyone is like that, right? You have like you move house once in a while. I mean not once in a while, but after a few years lah. Like if your parents want to move, you have no choice but you move together. Once you have like your own family, you also move out of this place. But every place you move, you stay for a few years, especially like more than 10 years. You probably have like memories, friends there. Yeah, so you have more homes,
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm always in the east, so I feel that east side is definitely the best side.
Yay!
Yay!
West side, best side, west side, best side.
Actually, here all four of us is, right?
Yeah.
Yay!
Only you wish, yeah. For one. Please
West
comment.
side, best side. If you think the west side is best side, please comment. I'm
Please
going to
comment
start.
the east
Okay,
side.
if you think east side is the best side, give me thumbs up, man.
Thumbs up, man. If the result is good,
Thumbs
up,
up,
man. Yeah, so yes, please give a thumbs up, okay? Okay, we are moving on to the next segment. Mothership Top 10. Alright, so we'll recap the top 10 articles and videos of during this campaigning period. Headline number 1. Alright, PAP new candidate Ivan Lim withdraws from GE 2020. So, what do you guys remember about this story?
Yeah, I think there were a couple of statements that came out against Ivan Lim, right, when he first appeared as a candidate, right? Yeah. What do you all remember from it?
I think there was a lot of stuff from his days in the military.
Capo as well.
Yeah, his days at work as well. It was all sparked by this one guy who went on Facebook and he posted about his experience. I think it was his reservist experience with Ivan.
Then I think a lot of people were wondering whether he would withdraw or not, right?
Yeah. So were you all shocked that he withdrew from the race?
Actually, personally, I was quite shocked. I
Right.
think. I mean, I didn't really expect him to do this. I feel. I don't know, but I think that was just me. Maybe I didn't feel like it was big enough, but I think some people felt like, wow, it was really a big enough thing. Yeah.
It went super viral, I think.
Yeah.
I think for the article, right? I think we have a few follow-up articles also. I think it did quite well. So I'm just also very curious why people like to read such stuff or pay so much attention to him. So maybe the writers can bring me through the.
I think the lead up to his withdrawal, a lot of things happened, right? There was first the accusation, the first account about what he did as a reservist, and then there were all these follow-up accounts as well. And then I think some of the PAP politicians were saying he should come out and clarify. And then he made the clarification, and then there were more articles more stories about his clarification, more people reacting to the clarification itself. So there's just so many things that I guess were being thrown out there for people to comment on, for people to react to. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that this whole episode also shows that although technically people don't have the choice at the start, right? Like who they want to fill the candidates, we never know until they announce. But then with social media, it becomes very important for like these people to kind of like have really good conduct beforehand. And there are people who are willing to speak up if, let's say, anything they experience that isn't so pleasant. But I feel that like now that he apologized or like he decided to exit from this contest, I also hope that like he's recovering from this incident lah. Yeah.
Right.
But anyway, just to shout out to those people that replied to me, thanks for your thumbs up. I know east side is the best side.
Yes, of course, east side is the best.
Comment on the west side, right?
Yes, must bring passport. Okay, don't hate on me, please. Yeah, no, not cyberbullying. Cyberbullying, if you all watch our live show, it requires a prolonged period of bullying before it can be called cyberbullying.
Don't think you sit in that chair, you are expert, huh?
No, I'm not expert. I'm just warming the chair for the next expert to come. So yeah, I mean, but do you think it's fair that he had to go through this thing, you know, like so publicly and online, and the intensity of it? Yeah.
I think with politics, it's like that kind of. I mean, you have to be prepared to put yourself through that kind of scrutiny. Yeah.
Okay. I think enough of the end. I think let's go to another segment where Dr. Jillian Koh and Martino Tan, the managing editor of Mothership, will talk to you about the key issues of this GE 2020. I think some key issues probably revolve around COVID-19, the 10 million thing. I think also the blank check. So, Check it out.
Hello, hi everyone. So we're back again.
Hi. Hi, Martino.
Good evening, Gillian. So just now our colleagues were mentioning about a couple of top issues on Mothership website.
Okay.
So one of them that they mentioned was, of course, with Ivan Lim and his withdrawal as a PAP candidate. What's your take on this issue? Because it leads us to the notion of how each political party select their candidates as well.
Yeah. Well, I think, he was among first batch of candidates that the PAP fielded, and it was quite surprising that after 2 or 3 days, there's quite a lot of momentum because there are just netizens sharing some background about him. Then I think you carried Mr. Lim's response.
Yes, we did. We carried his response, and then following that, of course, I think I think PM's response as well.
Okay,
yeah.
But then we'll see. You realize that there are other people who kind of picked up some articles about him when he first went out to Brazil for Keppel, and then it all got really, really intense just over that one day. And the shocker at 8:30 or 9 o'clock when he pulled out. But of course, then the opposition parties brought up the question of, well, how does the PAP select its candidates? Remember, the PAP has 27 candidates, plus Mr. Lim will be 28. But, I think you had clips of Dr. Tan Cheng Bock of the Progress Singapore Party, and he is saying that he does it differently. He actually meets as the leader
every
people
single candidate, right?
first,
Yeah. Yes.
and then he gets a small group to vet them. The PAP one is sort of that it comes out ground up and goes through different layers, and then I think towards the end, only then do prospective candidates meet the big guns, right? So it's tipped the other way. But I think that you'll see that it's not an easy thing to do. But at the end of the day, the PAP's got a good mix of candidates, and you've seen them. It's quite a lot that they have to look for, right?
It's one of their biggest crop this year, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And so I'm also curious to get your views on how our biggest opposition party, Workers' Party, select their candidates, because there's a lot of, I think, social media interest on Raisa Khan.
Okay. Right. Well, the Workers' Party says that it actually does get people to work the ground with them first, so they do want to see them in action before they consider them for candidates. And actually, that seems to be what the PAP is doing as well, because among the new candidates, you'll see that it's often mentioned that they've been volunteers for 10 years, 15 years, and so on and so forth. In fact, the replacement candidate in Jurong GRC.
Xie Yaoquan.
That's right. The anchor minister there, Tharman Shanmugaratnam, had said that, well, he'd been a volunteer there for about 5 years already. So I think the PAP is sort of moving to the WP system as well, trying to select people who they can see at the grassroots level, people have warmed up to them, and that they've actually, done some heavy lifting. Although there are the occasional people parachuted in from the civil service too.
The top civil service.
You mentioned Raisa Khan, and then I think that you'll see that WP also does have people who look like they've parachuted in, but then the claim is always that they've also walked the ground. Yeah, so it's interesting that there seems to be some kind of convergence in the background, at least, that there. From the PAP, we always assume there'd be high flyers and professionals, and how much time have they spent on the ground. Then WP seems to be people from the ground, and not characterized by high flyers, but some professionals. And then now we see a better crop of professionals who have nonetheless been there. Working with the WP, presumably.
The Ivan Lim issue was something that happened, I think, before nomination day, before the campaign started.
Yes.
And during the whole 90 campaign, what were some of the issues that you think caught the interest of Singaporeans or caught the attention of the netizens as well?
Okay. But before that, we should say nomination day, there were a few surprises.
Yes.
Recap that, because
strategic surprise as well.
Yeah. I think we've always known that there would be 2 men shot in the old East Coast GRC. Because Lim Swee Say had already stood down from being minister, so presumably he was also going to retire from politics. Lee Hsien also had stood down from being a junior minister quite soon after the last election.
GE.
Yeah, so wondering who would be fielded there. And then when the electoral boundaries were announced in March, we found out that Feng Shan got added into East Coast GRC. So always remember, East Coast GRC today, GE 2020, is not like East Coast GRC 2015. So we're waiting, and we were wondering who would be the anchor minister. And the big surprise was that Heng Swee Keat was then sent there by the PAP to anchor the team. But you know, we have to recall a few days before that there were photos of him visiting East Coast. In fact, it's one of the
Yes, indeed, over the weekend.
Yeah, right.
And Julia, I'd like to interrupt with some breaking news.
Okay.
We have a sample count from Potong Pasir SMC.
Right, which is the smallest SMC.
It's the smallest
It's
SMC.
about 19,500 or so people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so in terms of sample count, PAP 61%.
Okay.
SPP, Jose Raymond 39%.
Right. Yeah. Jose Ramon is sort of a newcomer, but he sort of claimed that he's been working the ground for about 3 years. SPP, Singapore People's Party, of course, is very much associated with Chiam See Tong and Lina Chiam. And this time around, there's no representation from the Chiam family. So now you've got 61 there. And
if I could give you some historical context as well, for the 2015 results, SPP only garnered 33.59%. So currently it's 39%. So it's an improvement.
Yeah, a slight improvement. And then also with the sample counts, we bear in mind that there's a margin of about 4%. But then
plus minus 4%.
Yeah, but that becomes quite clear that PAP will hold it under Sito Ipin. Yeah, so I think that's quite a clear outcome.
Yes.
Of course, we must wait for the final results, but that gives some indication. Do you have anything else for us?
Nope, just Potong Pasir. And from your own sense as well, how do you think Jose Raymond ran his campaign? Was there anything that cut through the clutter?
Well, I think he was quite modest, but he was anxious to convince voters there and all of us that he'd been working very hard on the ground. You remember that he tried to demonstrate that by saying, okay, there's some shortfall in terms of what the incumbent had been doing in Potong Pasir, but I'm not sure what kind of traction it had with the voters there. Okay, Mr. Ramon also sort of emphasized his passion for climate change and
also his relationship with the Chiams, right?
Yes, yes, that's it. And so that's quite an important connection, but clearly if we have a margin of 4%, you know, you're looking at 35. So, yeah. Well, good effort. We remember that SPP has another team that's running in Bishan Toa Payoh.
Bishan Toa Payoh, led by Secretary General Steve Chia.
Yes, that's right. And it's a reduced Bishan Toa Payoh, not 5-member, but 4-member GRC, with some part carved out by another rather exciting GRC to watch, Jalan Besar. And you've seen the previous PAP MP there, Josephine Teo, who's been the Minister of Manpower, moved to Jalan Besar, or at least now be part of the new Jalan Besar. And it's facing off the new party called People's Voice Party. But back to you, you have another...
We have another breaking news, and this is Bukit Batok SMC. So this is the contest between Murali Pillai and Chee Soon Juan.
Secretary General of
Secretary
SDP.
General, yes. And the results, PAP 57%, SDP 43%, 2015 results, PAP 72%, SDP 26.4%.
Well, that's become a tighter race. But clearly, again, if you just shave off the 4% because of the margin, PAP is still safe, but it's a very close one.
Very close one, and possibly an improvement from the Bukit Batok by-election as well.
Yes, that's right. There you had a little bit of a social media news. You remember that Murali Pillai was subject to some, I would say almost harassment or doxing, which dragged his family member into the picture. And then Dr. Chee Soon-juan, who is his rival there, had said that he wouldn't condone what was being done.
Very gracious.
Very gracious of him. But yeah, it's close. But again, if the sample count is any indication, then it's PAP holds.
Yes. And talking
So that's
about
two SMCs.
two SMCs, and talking about, of course, the Secretary General,
Yes.
Chee Soon-juan,
Yes.
during the campaign.
Right, and
there
you
was
mentioned
something-
some highlights
Yes.
during the campaign. I think, okay, sorry, it's a different media, but a certain media company had their TV debate, and you saw Dr. Chee Soon-juan open his time by saying that he wanted to bring up the issue of foreigners and foreign workers in Singapore, and then we were caught up over 4 or 5 days of the campaign about Chee Soon-juan's position that it was the PAP's target,
Yes, population
for
target.
population target to have 10 million, and then immediately in that show, you know, the candidate for Holland Bukit Timah,
Vivian Balakrishnan.
Dr. Vivian Balakrishnan, saying that there was no such thing. He said that the PAP did not have a population target. There is no 10 million target. There's not even a 6.9 million target. And critically, earlier that day, before that debate began, the government office had already clarified that there was that was a falsehood, and there's no such thing. But very, very important, because that continued to have a life of its own. You know, Mr. Heng Swee Keat, the candidate in East Coast GRC and DPM, was brought into the picture because in trying to justify the SDP position, Dr. Chee Soon-juan had said that he had read a quotation, you know, of what Mr. Heng Swee Keat had said in an NTU forum.
From a newspaper article.
Right, you'll know better. Yes. Since you study, you're in this space, how did it all get distorted?
Oh, gosh, I mean, if you were to look at Heng Swee Keat's Facebook posts and the videos as well, definitely he did not mention the 10 million population target, but it went on for quite a number of days. Yes.
I think what happened was that ST was trying to provide, well, the Straits Times, which is where the quotation is drawn from by Chee Soon-juan and SDP. It added some context to why there was this 10 million figure. And it's really a figure that was cited by a retired urban planner who said that, well, it's well nigh possible to plan for a city of Singapore comprising 10 million people. So that went on for a very, very, very long time. And it was sort of, you can see how there's sort of drawing on all the media material of the past.
And if I can recall correctly, in Parliament as well,
yes.
in 2018, Manpower Minister, or then I think Minister in the Prime Minister's office, Josephine Teo also mentioned nowhere, in terms of numbers, nowhere near that type of figure.
Yeah.
I think they were looking at possibly 6 million in 2020. So it's a huge distortion of the numbers. But this whole debate went on for
But I think it's important because, you know, it's brought out the clarifications and reminded Singaporeans what the PAP's position is. And I think there is that clarity. Of course, Dr. Chee Soon-juan went on to say, well, since I posed the question, now I've won for Singaporeans this clarity. And then it came back from the PAP and said, well, there you go, you set up a bogeyman, and then we smash it, and then you say that you have won a victory for your party. So it did go on beyond that as well, yeah. But I think that there is clarity now, and the government sort of, government authorities have stated what the position is, yeah. And basically, these are planning parameters so that we're never caught out in a situation where the hospitals are just too full, there's not even enough housing, and, transportation is congested. But that's just but one theme.
Yes, I guess at the end of the day, it all ends well, right? Because I
yeah.
think most Singaporeans would have followed the debate, and they know that this is definitely not a population target. The 10 million number is not the
Actually, one important
target.
document to look at is the population in brief document, and it shows you the changes.
And we'll wait for the final result later.
So are you still feeling positive about it?
Of course, you don't come into this thinking that you're going to win. You come into this thinking that you'll do a good job and you can walk away from it. Yeah. Oh, I'm actually heading down to one of the blocks over there, where some of my residents are waiting for me. Yeah. Yes, I think they're here. 119. Where are they? You're right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
are you still feeling very
No, I mean the results. The votes are still being counted, so we'll wait for the final results later. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks so much. Yeah. Of course.
Okay, so that was Jose and
So that was Jose Raymond from SPP. Our reporter engineer Lim was outside talking to him just now. So we have some of the latest sample counts. Can Tanya, our RO, please take it away, please.
Hi, okay, so some sample count numbers have come in. I'll be just running through very quickly some of these numbers. So for Marymount SMC, we have PAP leading with 54% and PSP 46%. For Marine Parade GRC, we have PAP at 57% and WP at 43%. For Bukit Batok SMC, we have PAP at 57% and SDP at 43%. For Potong Pasir SMC, we have PAP leading at 61% and SPP at 39%. For Kebun Baru SMC, we have PAP leading with 68% and PSP at 32%. Lastly, for Pioneer SMC, we have PAP at 66%, PSP at 32%, and the independent candidate at 2%.
All right. So what is this sample count, Andrew? Can you just let us know what is this all about?
Okay, so what a sample count is, it's basically the vote counters, they pick a random bundle of 100 ballot papers from each polling station. They count those 100 votes with the candidates and counting agents present, and then they add up those 100 votes and count how many go to each candidate or each GRC team. They also weight they also give weightage to the bundles according to which polling stations had more votes cast. So that's what a sample count is. It just gives us an idea of where the votes are heading. It's not 100% accurate, and we have to wait more for the confirmed results.
But judging from 2015 experience, I think it is quite accurate. Quite accurate. I mean, Drew is right; it's not 100%. But I think our experts in the studio, Martino Tan and Gillian Koh, has something to say about the latest results. Oh, not really. No. I'm gonna keep talking and drinking. Yes. And drinking. That's important. I mean, it's most like 12. I hope you guys are still awake. We guys are we're doing okay. Yeah. So anything you like to hear? Any comment section? I mean,
Jonathan asked, why since he never run for election?
I never run. Maybe 2025 lah. I'm waiting for the T session for like almost how many years already. My phone didn't ring, so yeah. So vote for me 2025. Okay. Anything else that we can?
Yeah, I think Sherman Tay says that the sample count equals to estimated votes, but it's usually quite accurate. Yeah. So there could be a difference. It's not 100% or whatever, but usually based on previous elections, it's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite close lah. I would say based on 2015.
So are you guys surprised by any results so far?
It was pretty tight. I think I was surprised by Marine Parade GRC and Bukit Batok SMC. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think for the previous 2016 by-election, the Chisunjuan was at 38.8% and Murali was at 61.2%. And so now he's at PAP 57 and SDP 43, which is an improvement from the 2016 by-election, right? Yeah. And for, I think, Marymount as well.
Oh yes, Marymount, yeah. Marymount, the battle of the two, okay, one is colonel, one is general. So SAF personnel. Gan Xiaohong is leading by
54% and 46%.
That's even closer than Bukit Batok.
So what surprised you about Marine Parade GRC?
Wow, I don't know. Not my best friend. My friend from R2MP, Mr. Tan Chuan Jin, the speaker is there. So I mean, recently ESM Go also dropped out of the retired. So I'm not sure whether this have an effect on it. Maybe not. But it is quite surprising to me. There's quite a tough and close fight.
It's at 57.
57?
43.
Right.
Yeah, 57. PAP 57, Workers' Party 43.
Right.
Yeah. So they're up against the Marine Parade team from the Workers' Party with Yi Zhenzhong, Nathaniel Cole, Ron Tan, Muhammad Azhar, Fadli Fauzi. So it's quite interesting. The two 5 men versus 5 men.
Yeah.
So it's like boy band fight.
Boy band fight. Yeah. Boy band fight.
I mean, one of them read poetry, right, at his Canada.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's
Is it
right.
Fadli?
Maybe that went. I think so.
Fadli, right?
So maybe that went down well with the voters of Marine Parade. You know?
So I think we're getting more numbers in right now. Is it?
Yes. So 3 more constituencies sample count are out. One is Yio Chu Kang SMC. So for PAP, Hong Wing has 61% versus PSP Kelalo is 39%. So the other one is Punggol West. Shun Xueling from PAP has 65%. Tan Chen Chen from WP is 35%.
Right.
This is sample count. Okay, the last one is Radimas SMC. Kumar Apavu from Reform Party, 24%. Melvin Yong from PAP has 76%. Yes. So for those who stay in this SMC, look out for the real updates later.
More developments lah. But who are we to know? I mean, we are no experts. So let's go back to our 2 experts in the studio.
Yes.
Martino Tan and Julian Koh.
Hi, good evening. So we now have results from another 3 SMCs. We have one from Hong Kong North, so that's SMS Amy Kaw's ward. The percentage is PAP 63%, PSP 37%.
So that's quite clear.
And we have Marymount SMC, which is a new SMC.
Yes.
And for the sample count, PAP at 54% and PSP at 46%.
That's a newcomer, helming. Well, they're at Marymount, Miss Gan Xiao Huang. Yeah.
And the last latest results we have in terms of sample count, Kebun Baru. Henry Craig is the incumbent there. PAP at 68% and PSP at 32%.
That's an SMC that was carved out of Nee Soon, which is a very is a PAP stronghold, basically.
So, Gillian, what do you think of the three results now?
Well, let's take a look. I think basically you can see there's a huge range from Kebun Baru, 68% for the PAP, and goes right out to 54% for the PAP in Marymount. So it's really hard to tell what's sort of the overall performance of the PAP, because you're getting this huge range. Granted that the sample count, there's a margin of 4%.
4%.
Yes, but you see how close Marymount can be. Hong Kong 63, So we're actually looking at hovering at 60 generally, but then there are some of the outliers which are, something to really pay attention to. We have to really wait for the final count.
Yes. And just to provide some context as well in terms of sample count. So sample counts for each constituency are obtained by counting 100 random ballot papers from each polling station, and there's a higher weightage given to ballots from polling stations where more votes are being cast. The expected margin of error is plus minus 4%, and in the last general election, I think the margin of error is below 3%.
Okay, Well, voters might want to know that this is something introduced so that you get a heads up of how the contest is going. And I think within that margin of error, then if it's higher, then then it becomes a very clear case of who sort of prevailed. I think when you look at the Potong Pasir result, which was one of the first in, then PAP scored 61. So that becomes quite clear that PAP will hold. Same with Kebun Baru and Hong Kah.
Yes. And maybe back to the campaign, I think
Yeah.
one of the things that was very important, I think, in everyone's mind, of course, is the whole COVID-19 pandemic.
Of course, yeah.
And how the government has handled and managed the crisis. What's your take in terms of, I think, how the government has managed the crisis, and how did a topic like that came up during the campaign?
Yeah. Well, I think first off, there had been quite a lot of debate after the election boundaries were announced in March. Some opposition parties were already saying, please, can we not have this election during the COVID season, and everybody's worried about public health. But on the other hand, you know that time is running out on this parliamentary term. So, Dr. Tan Cheng Bock of PSP, for instance, was saying that maybe there could be a caretaker government introduced after the formal end and the extension, the 3-month extension, which would take us to April. And then Senior Minister Teo Chee Hean said in Parliament that there is no such provision in the Constitution. Now we get into the election itself, then, I think PSP, which is particularly concerned about the COVID issue and how it's being handled, cited, its concerns. And then, the Singapore Democratic Party's Paul Tambaya, who himself is a specialist in infectious diseases, put out a message that suggested that the Ministry of Manpower had told employers that if they were to bring their foreign workers to, the hospital, A&E, to ask for COVID tests, that they may be penalized and that work pass privileges would be stripped from them. Of course, then the government authorities clarified that this was not the case. And, we saw the action of POFMA, the Prevention of Online Falsehoods and Manipulation Act, which then says, there's a piece of falsehood that's being put out, and if and we require that the people who host this falsehood put in a correction to that. And what is the correction? Basically, it sort of explained that foreign workers were being brought by employers after the first outbreak among a foreign worker population, just brought and dropped off at A&E, seeking, certificates that their workers did not have COVID. And because this might overwhelm the healthcare system, in addition to the fact that you don't actually test people, at that time, certainly, you don't test people unless they had some illness, some respiratory illness, then, actually the medical people were raising this to the government to say, how can we be expected to be given such certs? And so therefore...
We have some breaking news.
Okay.
In terms of the sample count,
Okay.
the first sample count from a GRC,
Oh,
Marine Parade,
okay.
And PAP is at 57%, Workers' Party is at 43%,
Okay.
and in 2015, PAP is at 64%, Workers' Party is at 35.9%.
Yeah. So within the 4% margin, it looks like PAP holds, Marine Parade GRC. It's against the Workers' Party team that is sort of helmed by a former non-constituency member of Parliament, Mr. Yi Jianzhong. Yeah.
And this is the first election without ESM Goh Chok Tong.
Yes, on the PAP side, yeah. He had his designated successor, Dr. Tan Si Ling, there. So the newcomer, the new face is Dr. Tan. But of course, the familiar face is Edwin Tong.
And our Speaker Tan Chuan Jin.
Yes, Speaker Tan Chuan Jin, of course, who was recruited in 2011.
Yes.
And you saw him very earnest and sort of running from house to house to kind of meet the people in the run-up to polling day.
Yes,
yeah.
indeed. And
Right.
and we have a number of SMC sample counts
Okay,
results.
let's
We
see.
have Radin Mas,
Uh-huh.
PAP at 76%,
Right.
Reform Party at 24%. It's quite close to the 2015 numbers.
Yes.
In 2015, PAP was at 77.2%.
Yeah.
And Reform Party was at 12.7%.
Yes.
I'll just go through with you a couple of other results as well.
Yeah.
Pioneer SMC, the sample count for Pioneer is PAP at 66, PSP at 32%, and for the independent candidate it's at 2%.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's one of the two three-cornered fights in GE 2020. Yeah.
And we have results from two new SMCs as well.
Uh-huh.
Pongo West SMC, PAP at 65%, Workers' Party at 35%. This is led by SPS Sun Xuanling.
Yeah.
And,
Versus WP's Tan Chen Chen.
Yes, and Yio Chu Kang SMC, it's led by a new PAP candidate, Ip Hong Win, PAP at 61%, and PSP at 39%.
Yeah. Mr. Yip, former civil servant there. Yeah.
So,
Wow.
Gillian, how do you make of some of the results now? I think we have quite a number from the SMCs and
Yeah.
from one GRC.
Right. Again, Radin Mas is another outlier, very high for the PAP, but that's been the tradition apparently. So now you have the two best performers, Radin Mas and Kebun Baru, but generally you're looking at the 60s, hovering around the 60s for the PAP in the ones that have just come through.
Yes, and now we have results from another four seats.
Yeah.
One of the more hotly contested than SMC, Bukit Panjang.
This is the one, where Liang Enghua from the PAP sort of been moved from Holland Bukit Timah, and where the person we were just talking about, Professor Paul Tambaya, is contesting for the SDP. So
56% for PAP and
Yeah.
SDP 44%.
Very close.
Very close.
Yeah.
And-
Last time around in 2015, I think PAP held by about something to the order of 68%. Yeah.
And now we
So
have
that's quite a
a sample
shift.
count from 3 other GRCs.
Okay. GRCs, watch out, viewers.
Sembawang, PAP at 69%, and NSP at 31%.
Okay, one of the better performing GRCs for the PAP, but it's a GRC that used to be helmed by the PAP's party chairman, Koh Boon Wan, who's standing down from politics. And the anchor minister there is now the Minister for Education, Ong Ye Kung. Yeah.
And
NSP
slight drop.
Spencer is sort of there, yeah.
2015 PAP was at 72% and NSP at 27%.
Right.
We also have results from sample count results from Nisun GRC,
Which is held by Mr. Shan Mugam.
and PAP at 61%, PSP at 39%. In 2015, PAP held it at 66.8% against a Workers' Party young team at 33.1%.
Yeah, on the PSP team is Mr. Francis Yen. You may remember him from the TV debate. Is that right?
PSP.
Yeah.
No, I think it's
so the
Chua Chu Kang.
Right, okay.
And Jurong GRC, PAP at 75%.
This is the best performer from 2015. Yeah, so 75 in the sample count versus 79 in 2015. Not a big difference, but still one of the best performers based on sample count right now.
One of the best performers so far against the RDU team at 25%.
Okay.
So a slight drop from 2015, PAP at 79.2%.
Right.
And one of the most hotly contested GRC sample count is in East Coast GRC.
Right.
PAP is leading at 54%, Workers' Party team 46%.
Okay, so that's a very tight one. It's been quite tight for the last two GEs, but clearly the margin's sort of getting closer and closer. Right, so that's...
What do you make of this this sample count result?
Well, that's one that we'll have to wait for. And this time around, the recount is automatic, guys. right? So if the margin is between 2% after they've counted all the ballots, then the elections department will actually automatically recount the whole lot as well. So we can expect that the final results going to take a while on East Coast GRC. Yeah, so yeah, okay. That's
And,
close. That's close to Marymount as well. Marymount's just an SMC, a new one, and that's 54 for the PAP.
Yes. And one more sample count from an SMC, Workers' Party Help Ward, Hougang SMC.
Everybody?
Workers' Party at 58%,
Okay.
PAP at 42%.
Okay, that's much clearer. And as we mentioned before, Hougang sort of undergone a personnel change on the WP side. They've sort of got Dennis Tan to take over from Peng Eng Huat, and he's trying to hold Hougang for Workers' Party. I think it'll be quite clear that he'll be able to do that, yeah.
And this sample count result is pretty similar to the 2015 results. Then Workers' Party was at 57.6% and PAP was at 42.3%.
All right. So people in Hougang, how do you feel about this? I'm sure you'll be able to share your comments with Mothership.
Yes, share with us on our live comments now. Let us know how you guys are feeling in Hougang.
What was it like going to the polling booths today? The people in Hougang. Right?
Yes, the people in blue.
We haven't got our unit back yet.
Nope, not yet.
I mean, not back, but at least we haven't got a sample count for our unit. So that's the other GRC, well, at least the other ward where the WP is fighting to hold, the GRC.
So from what we saw from the sample count so far, quite a wide range, and the best performing GRC so far was Jurong at 75%.
Yeah, so things can change, but on the other hand, there are things that don't change, and Jurong certainly was the best performer in 2015 when they faced off the team from Sing First. So they scored something close to, as you can see, 79%. Yeah, so it's the team held by Senior Minister Tharman Shanmugaratnam, and they've got two newcomers there, Mr. Sean Huang and Mr. Xie Yao Chen, who is the last-minute replacement. Well,
Julian, from the looks of it so far, it does appear that the incumbent has a health advantage on most of, if not all the seats, right? Because you have Hougang and Hougang Ho for Workers' Party, and for the rest of the seats,
and
PAP
Potong Pasir as well.
And Potong Pasir, yes.
Yeah, right. So we see that, but then the curious one is that the new SMC Marymount is so close. So PAP is at 54, featuring a new candidate. How about Yio Chu Kang? Yio Chu Kang is also a new SMC,
Slightly different, 61%.
Yeah, so it can happen anyway.
Yes.
So, but that is much clearer for Yio Chu Kang. Yeah.
Right. So we still have a number of sample count not out yet. I think for a number of GRCs, we are still waiting for, of course, West Coast.
Yeah.
I think that's the one to look out for. Our unit as well.
Yeah.
And
Do we have
Sengkang
Sengkang?
GRC.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet. So we were saying that we're looking out for Sengkang as well. It's a new GRC. And I think the key personalities on the opposition side are Dr. James Lim and Raisa Khan. But on the PAP side is the heavy hitter, Mr. Ng Chi Ming, who is the Secretary General of the NTUC, Minister without Portfolio in the Prime Minister's Office, and also SMS Senior Minister of State, Dr. Lam Pin Min. So,
and I understand that we are cutting to East Coast Live. That's when East Coast, that's the result of the sample count, PAP at 54% and Workers' Party at 46%.
And WP leading with 46%. So around an hour ago, around 11 p.m., we just saw the ballot boxes going in. So that's about it for now. There's nothing much going on now. We'll keep you updated with more things later.
Well, there are a lot of results to digest, and I think we need our returning officer, Tanya, to give us the rundown.
Don't break down.
Don't break down.
Slowly.
Okay,
Break down the numbers.
I try my best. Okay, so some new numbers have come in. I will just update with those before recapping. For Mountbatten SMC, we have PAP leading with 75% and People's Voice at 25%. In Chua Chu Kang GRC, we are seeing 59% for PAP, 41% for PSP, and for McPherson SMC, we are seeing PAP lead with 73% and PPP at 27%. For Marsiling UT GRC, PAP is at 64% and SDP is at 36%. So just to recap, just now there were some sample count numbers that came in. For East Coast, PAP is at 54% and the Workers' Party is at 46%. For Hougang SMC, we have WP leading with 58% and PAP at 42%. Okay, there are a few more. So Jurong GRC has PAP leading with 75% and RDU at 25%. For Nisun GRC, we have PAP at 61% and PSP at 39%. There's also Sembawang GRC, where we are seeing 69% for PAP and 31% for NSP, as well as Bukit Panjang SMC, where PAP is leading with 56% and SDP at 44%. So just to recap, these are all sample count numbers, not finalized yet. Yeah.
I don't know. So many numbers. But what stood out to you guys, man?
East Coast for sure.
East Coast, yeah.
East Coast is PAP 54% versus Workers' Party 46%. So in GE2015, their numbers were PAP 60.73% and Workers' Party 39.27%. So that's an improvement for the Workers' Party. Yeah.
I guess it was really very close this time around.
Yeah.
And Drew, I guess I'm just in shock.
Yeah, me too, honestly. But I guess, I mean, it says a lot about Nicole Sia's star power, I guess. That they can draw an improvement in votes in East Coast. The East Coast team also looks stronger as well with DPM Heng moving over there. So I guess we'll have to watch that one throughout the night.
Yeah.
I think what surprises me is also Jurong.
Oh yeah.
Yes, Jurong is.
Jurong.
Yeah,
Jurong,
I was surprised with the new party, Red Dot United, right?
Yeah, RDU
How
was
old is the
only
RDU?
Less than a month.
Less than a month.
Yeah, it's like less than a month's party, and then managed to get 25% for sample count, which is quite impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. I think there are also other notable ones. I think Bukit Panjang
Yes,
also
Bukit
is very
Panjang.
close. It's like 50 something.
Just because we've seen some comments on our chats asking about what a sample count is. So just a recap, a sample count is where they grab 100 votes from each of the polling stations in a particular constituency, and they count those 100 votes, all those votes, and they see how many goes to which candidate or which team, and it gives an estimate of how well things are going or how badly things are going for each team in that GRC. It's not 100%, but it's pretty accurate, or we've seen it to be pretty accurate in the past few elections.
Yep. So we'll be cutting back to our expert in the studio.
Yes.
My face.
Hi, good evening. So we have four more results, 4 more sample counts, and we'll go with the SMC first. At Mountbatten SMC, we have PAP at 75% and People's Voice at 25%. In 2015, PAP won with a 71.8% vote against an SPP candidate at 28.1%. I'll look at McPherson as well. McPherson, we have PAP winning, not winning yet, but PAP leading at 73%, PPP at 27%. 2015, PAP at 65.5% and Workers' Party at 33.6%.
So in these two SMCs, you see the PAP perform better, and the incumbents are still there from the PAP. So Lim Biao Chuan in Mountbatten, improving the performance based on the sample count, of course. Then Tin Pei Ling and McPherson, raising her performance by quite a few percentage points, from 65 up to 73. Yeah, so 8 points. But of course, these are sample counts. She was up against Goh Ming Singh, People's Power Party, who said that he will be retiring from politics after this, depending on the result, of course. But the gap is way too large, and it's clearly Tin Pei Ling who holds. Yeah.
Plus minus 4%. And we have the sample count for two GRCs at Choa Chu Kang, PAP at 59% and PSP at 41%. At Marsiling UT GRC, we had PAP at 64% and SDP at 36%.
Okay, Choa Chu Kang GRC is helmed by the Health Minister, Mr. Gan Kim Yong, but he said, but it's 59%, so he will hold. Based on the sample count.
It's quite a substantial drop.
Yeah.
He's against a PSP team led by Francis Yuan. Of course, we have seen Francis Yuan in some of the debates as well on Channel 5 in the NUS forum.
Sure, but I think, PSP is the party that's spoken up most vigorously about the management of the COVID pandemic. It's led by Dr. Tan Cheng Bock, so I think perhaps that's a reflection of the effect of what the PSP has been saying. Yeah.
And at Marsiling UT, which is Health Minister Gan Kim Yong's partner in the ministerial task force, led by Anchor Minister Lawrence Wong, 64% against an SDP
but the
team.
fall is not as large. Based on the sample count, it's just under 4% sort of fall in popular votes. Yeah.
So currently, looking at all the results so far, we still have all the incumbents holding.
Yeah. So I don't know, viewers, what do you think? You should send us your comments, right?
Yes, send us your comments.
What made the difference in Choa Chu Kang for you?
And what are the results from the sample count that surprised you so far? Just send in your comments, like some of the comments that you have made, and then let us know.
Yeah, but certainly that's quite stark, the Choa Chu Kang result. Yeah.
I think we have more results coming in.
Okay.
And these two are the very hotly watched and contested
Let me guess,
GRCs.
do you have Aljunied GRC?
Yes, we do. And at Aljunied, we have the PAP sample count at 60%. And, Workers' Party at 60% and PAP at 40%.
Right, so Workers' Party sort of refreshed the team there, brought in Leon Pereira and also
Gerald
Giam, former NC MPs. And so the sample count suggests that they have bettered their performance. Yeah.
From 2015, it was a really close contest.
That's right.
That was when WP won at 50.95% against a PAP team at 49%.
Yeah. So viewers, those of you who live in Aljunied, what turned the tide for you? I know that the Workers' Party team had emphasized that they'd improved in their processes of the management of the town council there, but as we said, they refreshed the team as well. So maybe there's something there that the voters felt they could give greater support to. Yeah.
And at West Coast GRC team, another hotly contested fight, a PAP team led by the two ministers, Minister Iswaran and Minister Desmond Lee, against the PSP team. So for the sample count, still too close to call. PAP at 52% and PSP at 48%.
That's very, very close. It's down to the wire, I think. And probably there'll be an count of the full count of the ballots, of course. But remember that if the margin's within 2%, then there will be a recount. We'll be waiting quite a while, and we were right. This is one of the two very hotly contested GRCs. East Coast as well. We're looking at 54% for the PAP and 46% for WP. So very, very close, but even closer West Coast. Yeah.
And now we have another hotly contested GRC. Can you guess what's that? Only one left.
No, tell me. Sengkang.
Yes, Sengkang GRC. And of course, this is a new GRC.
That's right.
And the sample count has the Workers' Party leading. Workers' Party at 53% and PAP at 47%.
Right. So, as expected, now we're looking at Sengkang, West Coast and Aljunied. Of course, if West Coast makes it, then it's a new party in Parliament, but an old face, Dr. Tan Cheng Bock. Yeah. The Aljunied team on the PAP side been very dogged. They've been there for about 9 years. Remember that on nomination day, the team led there by Victor Lai was saying that we've been working for you for 9 years, just committed.
Yes.
Not very sure if they'd make it, but they'd been working, and they used this tagline, "Bring us home." Then that was followed by the Workers' Party's speech, and Pritam Singh used the same tagline, "Bring us home." So I think it's quite interesting that both parties said, "Bring us home." For Aljunied, of course, having the PAP team having sort of fallen to WP in 2011, been working very hard and waiting to make it, but with the sample count, that doesn't seem quite plausible.
If I'm looking at the two Workers' Party GRC Workers' Party contested GRC at East Coast and Sengkang, both of the teams are widely seen as I think the Workers' Party young team, their B and C team.
Yes.
It appears that the Sengkang team, from the sample count, it's outperforming the East Coast team, led by Terence Tan and Nicosia.
Yeah, that's quite surprising, but they also built up a bigger profile over these days, and specifically profile on social media.
Yes.
So I think that you have some colleagues over there also talking about the impact of social media, and if the WP team actually does, it's confirmed that they hold Sengkang, then we've got to look at the effects of social media. But to remember that Janus Lim sort of, his first outing was actually in mainstream media, TV debate as well. So it's not entirely social media, but I think it carries it through from there. Yeah.
Right. So I think among all the results now, Sengkang is
the surprise.
The surprise.
Yes.
Led by a very young Workers' Party team, and you have against a PAP team led by the Labour chief, Ng Chee Meng.
That's right. Yes. Well, who could have told? And it's a brand new GRC. I think when the election boundaries, election boundaries were called. Actually, Dr. Lam Pin Min, who anchors, who previously was in that area, said that he had a fight of his life to try and hold the GRC.
We'll be cutting to Sengkang.
But we seem to have a bit of technical difficulty. Okay, it seems to realize now. Okay, hi, I'm Eileen for Mothership again, and we are at Anchor Vale. So the news just came in that the sample count for Sengkang is in, and it has Workers' Party. Hold on, let me just quickly get Workers' Party at 53% and the PAP, People's Action Party, at 47%. So this is the sample count for Sengkang GRC. And right now at Anchorvale, we actually heard some cheers and clapping from the blocks. I'm not sure if the mic was able to pick it up, but this was for the sample count at Sengkang GRC. So here at Anchorvale, actually there is some kind of media room set up, and the PAP candidates for Sengkang GRC might be coming by later. Again, this is just a sample count and not the final result. So we'll be standing by to hear more from them. But this is all for now from Sengkang GRC.
Oh my god.
Guys, we need to talk about something. We need to talk about Sengkang. Okay? Sengkang GRC. Let's have our Sengkang Kia to take it away, guys. Sengkang, guys. Sengkang Kia.
Sengkang Kia.
Yes.
How are you feeling now?
I think I'm very surprised, to be
Right,
honest, by the
right.
sample count. But then, being in this studio right now, I have the responsibility to let you know that this is a sample count, and then there might be changes, or like this is not the final count. So let's wait for the returning officer to announce it on the broadcast later. But then, to share my thoughts, I think it's very surprising, but maybe there are a few factors involved lah. Like, I
What are
think
the factors?
I think everyone know that, like, but prior to all this, we have the PMD changes, right? I think maybe people are still feeling from that incident. I'm not too sure. That's one thing. And then the Jamus effect. Yeah. So, but then there are also 3 MPs there, you know, or like 3 politicians that have like portfolio in the parliament, to be honest. So it is probably a very difficult choice for Sengkang residents.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Do you think the factor could be Sengkang GRC is made up of the old Punggol East and Sengkang West, which these 2 constituencies are regularly being visited by Workers' Party. I mean, Lily Lane was there previously
Yeah.
also.
Okay, so I in my whole life living in Sengkang, I've not met like the Workers' Party people. So I'm not too sure. Maybe they really have walked the ground very like often, I don't know, to interact with the residents. Maybe because Sengkang is really a young estate. I mean, I didn't feel that it's particularly young, because I feel that we have been living there for 20 years. So I thought like, okay, maybe the online people have been saying that there's a lot of young people, but maybe it's not true. So guess that plays a part. Like, it's a very young estate, and I think most young people tend to focus on broader issues. Maybe WP kind of play up on that, like maybe about climate change, about national policy issues. Yeah, so that plays a part to it. Like, PAP candidates tend to focus on the bread and butter issues, new town council, this and that. I'm not too sure how do the residents respond to this. Yeah. Yes, so that's my sharing.
Okay, very good, very good. I enjoy your sharing.
How about you guys, non-Sengkang people?
I'm just shook.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about this?
I think because Sengkang's Workers' Party candidates are pretty young, so as you said that the Sengkang GRC is a lot of old people or something like that, right? And I think for them to have 2 candidates that are new, Raisa and Jamus, and have the vote of 53% is quite a feat. I think it's quite a good achievement.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
but then again, this is a sample count. It's not 100% accurate.
Right.
Yeah.
Before we cut to our reporter at West Coast, just want to do a shout out to Danny MLTM. Today my mother's birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Are you having a birthday party?
Okay.
Sorry.
I think that's quite good. Yeah, let's take a look at West Coast and what's happening now.
Cutting back to studio. Oh, shoot. No sound, but it was on, right?
Yeah, it was.
Hello, it's me again. Your favorite
Hi.
face.
Botak.
I wonder sometimes if I just lie here and sleep, maybe the views will be higher, but who gives, right? Anyway, we had some technical difficulties, so let's talk about West Coast GRC, shall we?
Yeah, gosh. It's
Yeah.
the hype beast power.
The hype beast power, yeah.
No, I think it's interesting. You have to note that because Tan Cheng Bock used to be an MP for Ayer Rajah for 26 years.
That's
you know?
correct.
So that
Yeah.
that has to do probably have to do something with the older voters,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because they're now at 52-48. So PAP 52, PSP 48. For a new party, 48 is good.
Yeah, it's good, it's great. Cutting it very, very close. So, Tanya, any thoughts on West Coast?
Actually, like Rachel, you mentioned that that he's kind of good with old people on the ground, right? The older voters, right? So I'm also wondering whether how much of this his performance is actually also due to his social media presence.
Understand.
So like, I wonder how much like how beneficial it is, right, to kind of use all these millennial terms and to kind of eat the hibiscus or something. I guess. I don't know. It's the first time I'm seeing someone eat a hibiscus on
right?
Instagram story.
Yeah.
I think there are these very memorable moments also. So just wondering if, I don't know, maybe that kind of contributed to it as well.
I mean, speaking about the work, PSP's social media game, right? Like, I think we noted that at the start of the whole campaigning, or even before, they were the most proactive with it. They had the most kind of programs on Facebook, and they were very good at it. It was very smooth for the most part, and I wonder if that really paid off here for Tan Cheng Bock in West Coast.
Yeah, going back to his roots, man. Yeah, he's going back to where he came from, where he started. So I think maybe that has to probably do a lot with
Yeah.
votes. I think let's cut to the studio with the experts.
Sorry, Aljunied.
Aljunied, sorry. Yeah, sorry, our producer just. Yeah.
And I'm currently at Damai Secondary, and this is Aljunied GRC's counting center. We've just received results that the sample count for Aljunied GRC is in. The WP team has won by 60%, while the PAP team obtained 40%. Currently, there are no candidates from either party at the counting center yet. That's all the updates that we have so far. The atmosphere is quite quiet. We'll get back to you again later. Thank you.
Hi, welcome back. I don't know, man. I'm feeling a lot of emotions right now. Don't know whether I don't know how to
Express
it out.
Express the
But
words.
I think maybe our younger colleagues can articulate this feeling better than me. I hope. Huh? Tanya, do you have any?
I have no feelings.
You have no feelings. You are no longer human, I suppose.
No longer human.
Right.
Must be neutral.
Well, honestly, it's exciting, right? Like either way, I mean, no matter which party you support, it's shaping up to be a very close election, and I'm just very excited with each sample count that's coming in. We're really just watching it and trying to see how close it's going to be, or how big the margin is going to be. It really feels quite surreal to be seeing some of this result. Yeah.
My hair stand there.
Yeah, I got goosebumps when I saw the Sengkang
and East Coast one.
And East Coast results. Yeah,
and West
definitely.
Coast. Yeah, I think we're getting some new sample counts in right now. So Tanya, do you wanna talk about the new sample counts?
Currently we have the sample count in for Jalan Besar, where PAP is leading with 67% and People's Voice at 33%. For Holland Bukit Timah GRC, the sample count numbers are 68% for PAP and 32% for SPP. Also, sorry, there's one more that just came in. Ang Mo Kio, we have PAP leading at 72% and RP at 28%.
Right. I think Ang Mo Kio GRC and Jurong GRC are probably the only two that are above 70%. Am I right to say that?
Radin Mas as well.
Radin Mas as well.
76.
Yeah, I guess for GRC, those are the two better performing ones. One is of course held by PM Lee, the other one by SM Taman. I guess their popularity is still very high over there. Yeah. I think I would like to sense the mood on the ground, but I guess our guys are having some technical difficulties right now. But we love to share the scenes on the ground, especially in places like Hougang and Aljunied. Maybe even Sengkang as well. I think our reporter Eileen was there just now. Yeah. I don't know. Now that he has, I think are all sample counts issued already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All sample counts are in.
Ang
As of-
Ang Mo Kio just in
Right,
yeah.
right. So we are all, the sample counts are all issued. So the next thing we're looking for would be the results. I think obviously the SMCs will come out first. Yeah. So I think, shall we return to regular programming? Oh no, I cannot. We have to talk more. Yeah, I'm looking at my producer Kane, so I'm just talking more. Yeah.
I just realized I whisper on my mic. The live people can hear.
From the sample count so far, what we've seen is that the results are definitely closer than they have been in 2015.
Yeah.
We've also seen the Workers' Party do relatively well across the board, and the PSP as well. In basically every place that they've contested, they've done respectable numbers. Parties such as PV haven't done as well as they would have hoped for, and I think some of the smaller parties as well, PPP and SDA and RDU, they haven't done that well either.
So I guess for a party like PSP, it's not even, is it a year old?
No,
Oh,
not a
really
year old. Yeah, less than a
getting
year.
Quite good results.
Yeah, like Choa Chu Kang actually.
Yeah, and
Choa Chu Kang has PAP at 59% and PSP at 41%. So that's pretty good because for the 2015 election, PAP scored at 76.89% and the People's Power Party was at 23%. So you can tell the difference. And now,
We'll probably cut to the studio now.
yeah.
Yeah, to the experts while we continue to eat pizza. Bye bye.
Hi, good evening. So we have some updates, a couple of sample counts. One is from Yihua SMC. So we have PAP at 69%, and
That's Graceful holding that SMC.
and SDP at 31%.
Yeah, she's been quite strong in terms of. It's been quite strong in terms of support for Graceful there. She also was from Tanwan Shanmugaratnam's stable, and then was carved out to form an SMC. So very clear win for Graceful.
So it appears that the incumbent PAP
Again.
candidates in the SMC
Yeah.
are
Always
doing
quite
generally
strong.
quite well,
Yeah.
quite strong.
There seems to be a
And-
pattern.
And we have a couple of GRC sample count results.
Okay.
First, we have Pasir Ris Pongo, PAP at 63%.
This is the second three-corner fight.
Yes, SDA at 25%, and People's Voice at 12%.
SDA led by Desmond Lim, who said that he will be standing down from leading SDA after this. So you see the PAP team led by Teo Chee Hien holding the seat with Janelle Putticherry, and there you have three newcomers to the five-member GRC. You have Desmond Tan, who used to be a brigadier general and most recently headed up the People's Association. Then you have Cheryl Taha. And also, I think the final member of that five-member GRC is Yeo Wan Ling, who sort of started a social enterprise to address the needs of seniors.
And we have the sample count results from Jalan Besar.
Jalan Besar PAP team is helmed by the Minister of Manpower. So what
Josephine
do we have?
Teo. And her team is leading at 67% against People's Voice team at 33%.
That's very clear. The People's Voice team led by Lin Tien, who is also campaigned vigorously on the role of foreigners and on immigration into Singapore, and was we thought quite a good match vis-a-vis the Minister of Manpower. The voters there clearly have preferred the incumbent team. Yeah.
Yes,
A
and we
strong
have the
showing there.
results from Tampines GRC.
Tampines GRC that sent along the minister, DPM Heng Swee Keat, to East Coast GRC. So it's a team anchored by Minister for Environment and Water Resources, Masagos Zulkifli. So what is the outcome?
The outcome is PAP is now leading at 67% against the NSP team at 33%.
Right. So that's a very clear win,
And-
probably for the PAP based on the sample count.
Yes, and we also have results from Tanjong Pagar.
Tanjong Pagar.
PAP is leading at 63% versus PSP at 37%.
Yeah. PSP, the newcomer to the scene, clearly not done as well as their team, which is anchored by their founder member in West Coast GRC. Their PSP, based on the sample count, has got 48%, but in Tanjong Pagar, 37%. Yeah.
And this PAP team is led by a 4G leader.
4G leader, Minister Chan Chun Sing, the MTI minister.
And we have the results of sample count at Bishan Toa Payoh, PAP at 67% and SPP at 33%.
Yeah, so this is a team helmed by the Minister for Defence, Ng Eng Hen. It shrunk from a 5-member GRC to a 4-member GRC. This is the team which, therefore, by that means, lost Josephine Teo to Jalan Besar.
It's a seasoned team. I think the team did not change. So you have SMS Chihon Tat there as well.
Yes, that's right.
And we have Holland Bukit Timah results, PAP at 68% against an SDP team at 32%.
Right, this is the SDP team that's helmed by Dr. Tan Ji Se, who dissolved Sing First and rejoined SDP, came back to Holland Bukit Timah, where he contested in 2011 against the PAP team held by the same person, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Dr. Vivian Balakrishnan. Alongside him is Ms. Sim Ann and Mr. Christopher D'Souza. The newcomer to that slate is Mr. Edward Chia, the person who founded Timber, which I'm sure many of the viewers are familiar with for its emphasis on supporting local artists and also the heritage food.
Music and food.
Right.
And we have one last result from Amokyo.
Okay.
That's PM's ward. So
That's
PAP leading at 72% against a Reform Party team at 28%.
Very strong showing by the team led by Mr. Lee Hsien Loong, close to what was secured in Jurong GRC by the team headed by his right-hand man, left-hand man, Taman Shanmugaratnam, where the PAP by the sample count holds Jurong at 75. So we got 75, 72 around there. Very strong showing in these two GRCs. Again, in 2015, you had them sort of close to each other. They're all best in class. Jurong, which was held at about 79% in 2015, and Ang Mo Kio at 78. Yeah.
So again, these two GRCs are currently the best performers
Yes,
so far.
right, for the PAP.
So Gillian, what do you make of all the results so far? I think we still have a couple of very close contests in West Coast GRC as well, in Sengkang GRC, and the Marymount SMC looks to be quite close.
Yeah. So I think that we're looking at the psychological threshold of 12 opposition members in Parliament, because there's already a provision which was introduced by the PAP government in the last term for up to 12 non-constituency members of Parliament. In other words, I think informally as a party, probably the PAP is prepared to see 12 opposition members in Parliament, whichever way, whether duly elected or because they are the best losing opposition members. So we see that because these are still sample counts, we cannot confirm anything, but you'll see that it is a 4-person team at Sengkang GRC, where Workers' Party is
leading at
53%, versus the PAP team, which is helmed by Ng Chi Ming. Actually, it's an all-boys team,
All boys team.
Yeah, which was quite surprising. Whereas the Workers' Party team there features Raisha Khan as well as He Ting Ru, who had previously contested in Marine Parade with Terence Tan. So there she is in Sengkang.
In fact,
So
one of the teammate, the Sengkang GRC team, you have Amrin, Amrin, who came from an all-boys team in Sembawang GRC in the last election to another all-boys team.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And if the sample count continues to be accurate,
yes,
we are looking at the parliament that's in terms of opposition voices is dominated by the Workers' Party with 10 seats, and then maybe the 2 NCMP seats might be going to the PSP.
Yeah, because you see that the PSP has 48% in West Coast GRC, so they might be the next best losing group, so to speak. And in a GRC, 2 members of the slate up to 2 members of the slate can take up the NCMP slots. Now, we have to remember that Dr. Tan Cheng Bock, who helms that team, has said that he will not take up an NCMP scheme. I think there's another member of
His
that slate.
deputy, the Assistant Secretary General, Leong Mang Wai, has also declared publicly that he will not be taking up the NCMP seat.
Yeah. So, Martino, we're looking at Mr. Jeffrey and Mr. Loganathan,
or Miss Hazel Paul.
Or Miss Hazel Paul taking up 2 seats, possibly. Yeah. Let's see how that goes. We have to bear in mind there's Hougang SMC, which will be held by WP as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dennis Tan. So we have 1 seat from Hougang, 5 from Aljunied, and possibly 4 more from Sengkang GRC.
Right. So, what do you feel? How do you feel, viewers?
So again, I think the surprise here is Sengkang GRC. So if you're from Sengkang, especially for some of our readers out there, drop us a note. Share with us how you feel about the election there. Who do you vote for? Who do you support?
Yeah.
Share with us, I think, some of your comments and thoughts.
But you'll remember that the Sengkang team was quite strong in putting forth the idea that they were young people with young families, and they hoped that Sengkang voters would identify with them and they with the voters, because there are lots of young families in that area. And they talked about how, there's not just the cost of living issues, but just, bringing up children and the challenges there with preschool, childcare, and also shops in the neighborhood. So something there must have resonated.
Must have resonated with the Sengkang residents there.
Yeah.
And it's a new GRC.
Yeah. Love to hear from Sengkang voters. Anybody out there?
And back to the studio.
Okay.
All right, welcome back, guys. We would like to also welcome back Natalie, who will be talking to us more about the social media effects of this election. So I think, Natalie, when you left the show just now a bit, I think a lot of things happened.
Yeah. I was watching, following.
Yeah. So we just want to go back to the whole scrutiny of the candidates, right? Given that it's all very online and things happen very quickly. Yeah, I think we saw some things happen. Earlier it was PAP's candidate Ivan Lim, and then which PM also spoke about. It's like a trial by internet, and then later on, Raisa Khan from the Workers' Party also got involved into some some incident of her own. So would you give your take on that? The whole scrutiny this GE, especially now everything is online, everything is very quick. Everything that is being said years ago could be dug up.
Yeah. I think for me, actually, the scrutiny on candidates, honestly, to me, for Singaporean voters, I think it's always something they are concerned about. Perhaps, but we are seeing, I guess, different ways that citizens now engage with that issue. Like you said, it is everything happens in like a split second online. I would say other than Ivan Lim, there was also like other scrutiny as well, like Ng Ling and all that. So I would say actually that heightens spotlight on candidates is, I guess, it amplified even more in this GE. So you talked about Raisa Khan, and I think the whole, the fact that the police reports were made on Raisa Khan, and subsequently even more police reports actually emerged, right? I think for this GE, for me, that's been a first. The online actually police reports, online petitions, and all that actually for me, I guess the way voters now engage with the issue of what are the candidates, who are the candidates they want and do not want, right? The ways they engage with that is actually now new. And actually looking at the issue over Raisa Khan's online postings. In fact, I think that's been one sort of regrettable incident, right? Where that reports actually trigger other reports. I've also been seeing traction. The hashtag I stand with Raisa, Cats for Raisa, gaining traction online. In fact, ever since the issue broke out. So I think if you ask me about social media effects, I think that we can pinpoint to those certain moments where we can see that that effect actually, that particular moment had an effect on how people, I think especially for voters in Sengkang, right, how they thought about the issue. And I think it is also important to note that, the voters in Sengkang, so perhaps it's their way of also expressing the point that they perhaps want a new way to engage in these issues. So, that's my take.
Yeah, you mentioned about the police report, right? So it's almost like a tit for tat thing, given that you can quickly, easily file a police report and then like start a petition or something. So this, do you think this is like a trend moving forward for politics in Singapore?
I would say it's not just Singapore. It's kind of cancel culture worldwide, right? We are seeing that even as we speak right now, J.K. Rowling and other writers actually embroiled in that issue as well. So I do think that it does mean that as a society, we need to actually really embrace and confront the fact that we need to talk about issues that may be uncomfortable for people coming from different sides, and find a new way to engage in these issues.
So this cancel culture thing, and I've been hearing a lot of things about this, cancel culture and being woke, right? So how do you? But I feel so. There are certain things that you can't really say now, but maybe it's perfectly okay 10 years ago, maybe. So I just feel like it's a bit scary to be that you need to sometimes you need to fit into this woke crowd. I need to be woke, so sometimes I just maybe I post something on the BLM, right? But without knowing the context. But I just see that everyone is woke. I need to be woke too. Is this something that you sense also?
Yeah, I do. I do. And I do think that, I mean, regardless of the party we support, everyone support, right? Regardless of who you voted for, we have to find a way to, I guess, connect better and have more compassion, empathy. And I mean, perhaps, yeah, I mean, one thing that really struck me, especially in the last few days of the campaign, I mean, seeing all the petitions, all the police reports that came out, right? Yeah, that struck me, I mean, in a very uncomfortable way is also, I guess, the weaponization, yeah, I mean, of the police institution, right? Right. And, you know, using petitions to, you know, just go against what, yeah, I mean, we don't like, right? But I think for me, it's also important to understand the context. I think for citizens, when they experience something that they feel like they can't do much about, right? They will look for ways to do something about it. And this is, I think, especially for young people, a way to exercise their citizenship, right? A way to participate in this process.
Right.
So it does mean that we have to actually really look for ways to actually make that participation more inclusive, more positive, and more engaging.
Yeah. Okay.
I think for those people who haven't heard about what happened to Raisa, right? So in the past week of campaigning, there were 2 police reports that were made against her. So they were made against her because of the comments that she made in 2018 and one earlier this year in May. So she made an apology at a doorstop, and the apology was quite short as well. And Pritam Singh took some questions at the doorstop. So I think we have a video over here. Yeah, and I think the video will come up. Yeah.
My intention was never to cause any social division, but to raise awareness to minority concerns. I apologize to any racial group or community who have been hurt by my comments. My remarks were insensitive, and I regret making them. I feel really passionate about minority issues, regardless of race. And in my passion, I made improper remarks, and I have to be accountable for them. I will fully cooperate in any police investigations. Thanks.
Yeah, so that was the apology she made with Pritam Singh as well at the doorstop. So I think about woke culture, I think it's probably because in this new day and age, the younger people care about different things, you know. Since he mentioned earlier that something that might be offensive a couple of years ago may some couple of things that were not offensive a couple of years ago are offensive now simply because I think many things are now brought to light in terms of microaggressions and stuff like that. So I think probably that's why. Yeah. So, Xingqi, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I mean, if I don't post a blackout profile picture, if people call me, hey, how come you're not doing this BLM with us? That means you're against us. Yeah. I think that's a very scary thing because I may have different causes that I fight for, you know, not just BLM. Yeah. It just so happened that maybe I do not have the context to it and I do not understand the entire history of it. That's why people don't do that. But this, if you're not with us, then you're against us kind of mentality. Is this going to be worsen in the future?
Yeah, that's equally divisive, right? So I think it is, I mean, to me, that's why it's important to understand that actually, for everything that's said, right, it always happens in a certain communication setting.
Yeah.
Right. There is someone you're talking to and a certain context that, that conversation takes place, and perhaps whatever you say, actually really happens in that context, right? So when a certain message is taken out of that communication setting and just put out there without that context, that can be easily misconstrued. So I mean, it is. I do think that it is something that we have to talk about.
Yeah.
Right? We have to talk about, even in the context of using social media, social media during an election. How do we actually be able to discuss issues, be able to hear different perspectives, right? And that really is something that is central to what democracy is about, right?
Yeah.
And what having an election is about. It is about looking at issues, it is about looking at candidates who can best represent us on those issues, and it is about actually also having different perspectives brought to the table.
Yeah. So, I was just wondering, we just saw Raisa Khan's apology earlier, and based on how social media reacted to that whole situation, are you surprised? I mean, we've seen the sample count now. Are you surprised by the results?
Well, I must say, I have a tinge of surprise. I think if I just look at what's happening on social media alone, I must say I'm not surprised. But I guess when I was actually listening to the results earlier, I kept thinking, but we are in the middle of a pandemic, right? And I kept thinking, during a crisis, I think it's human nature to turn to what's familiar, right? So I think for me, I was not expecting the Workers' Party team to win. But actually, having said that, I also think that perhaps it's because we are in a pandemic, an unprecedented crisis, that perhaps voters in Sengkang, and especially younger voters, right, they may be looking for a team that they can relate to, that may be going through the same things as them, that they may want to actually go into Parliament to present new ideas, to debate new ideas as to how to move forward, how to actually live, work and play in a post-COVID-19 world. So I guess, on that point, and also on the point of actually looking at what's been happening on social media, I guess I'm not so surprised, right? But 2020 hindsight, right?
Right. Okay, thanks Natalie for joining us and sharing your insights. We're going to start a new stream soon, so please stay tuned and join us back in a bit.